It's not as if she were a maniac, a raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes.
And I say, Inspector Man, death should always be painless.
She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
I caught him, Sheriff. Wait, who is it? Billy Loomis. Sir?
Pardon me, I'm Loomis, Dr. Sam Loomis.
I think our friend Sam Loomis didn't know that Marion was here.
Oh, Sam, I hate having to be with you in a place like this.
Well, just listen to me. When you go down the street to the Mackenzie's house, I want you to tell them to call the police.
Your car. Drive down to the Mackenzies. Watch a few movies, take a few notes. It was fun.
Good evening and welcome to the 69 episode.
Oh my god, that's the sex number. Holy that is top quality joke. Oh my lord.
If we didn't do it, come on. If we didn't do it, someone else was going to get in there, right?
That is true. That is true.
Exactly. Right. I am off camera this week because I am your hostess, super sunburnt, red as a beetroot, absolute disgrace, proper horror show. I went out and Factor 50 did not do the job I hoped it would. I am burnt to a crisp. But that's not going to dissuade me. We're going to be fine tonight. If you are new here, if you're seeing this for the first time, we are going to cover a film in depth. And this week it's going to be Oculus by Mike Flanagan. And before that, we'll have a little topic section, which is just going to be an overview of Mike Flanagan's films and recommending every single one of them, basically, without exception, I'd say. But before we get into that, we'll do a little shilling as we're YouTube professionals here, seasoned veterans, and we also have an exciting new guest, first timer, Mr. Shrouded Hand.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, not bad, thanks.
I'm going to come back to you in a minute, and I'll just, since it's your first time, I want to ask you about your sort of. I want to ask you a little bit about the horror films you like. So just have a little think about that, and we'll get.
Okay, yeah.
All right, lovely. We also have co-host Haryan.
Hello, what up, my drillers, etc. Mike Flanagan's great. That's all there is to say to that.
This is the second Flanagan project you've covered. I'm glad to hear this is enthusiasm. Nice. Quick shills. Anything you'd like to shill, Haryan, before we get into the content?
What did I make yesterday? Oh, I did a video covering what happened in Telford. I don't think I can mention any specifics because it's not family friendly. But you can go to my channel and find out exactly how many people were involved. And yeah, more of the all that bad stuff. Yeah, move on.
I will. We will not specify anything about Telford. Yeah. Gosh darn it.
Good idea.
Peter Gagwin, I will go into great detail on Mike Flanagan in a bit. He is the director of this film, and probably soon your favorite director. Maybe your favorite horror director, if we can be a little more specific. The man who may redeem Netflix. Could be it could happen. I'd say so. It's him and the Duffer Brothers, I think, basically. Anyway, TCG. How you doing, sir?
And welcome. How you doing? You all right?
I was hanging on to the channel. I'm so used to your intro.
To the channel.
You said hello and welcome, and I was just left hanging there. Like
I know. I kind of thought to myself, I'm saying welcome, and then I realised, why am I saying welcome? This isn't my channel. This is yours. But no, I normally go to the channel, don't I? Because that's what I do.
You may eventually acquire the stream via adverse possession.
It has been such a. I'll say it's been such a long day, man. I'm roasting. I tell you what, you might be sunburnt, but I think I'm extra crispy at the moment. I'm very, very cooked.
Oh, bless you. Bless you indeed, Father. I'm glad you survived to make it. The chickens outside they've just been dust bathing and flopped all day. They're doing nothing. Even the pestering for grapes was decidedly lackluster. None of us are coping well with this.
Oh dear. Apparently it's supposed to get worse, isn't it? But I don't want to talk about the weather because nothing makes me sad. What makes me happy is horror films.
Oh, fantastic. Well, have I got a channel for you, TCG?
Oh, whoa, that's like a reverse Uno card right there.
Oh, I try. Yeah, well, I've got good news. I finished the editing on a fun little video on Netflix, which probably people will say is a massive reach, but I hope you'll give it a chance. I'm probably going to drop that tomorrow, I think. Something to enjoy midday on a Friday. I'll see what I can do about that. If I can get the final clips I need for it, we should be good. And otherwise, I'll just remind you that we are happily monetized, and the best way you can support this channel is with a thing that I made a graphic for. Super chats if you fancy. It would be very much appreciated. But what we'd really like for the sake of accounting is members. If you want to support via members on Subscribestar or on YouTube, that'd be super appreciated. And the reason I'm asking for that, and despite being so British that it physically hurts me to ask, is that money for that goes towards the secret project, which actually requires props and sets and good things like that. And that is why I overcome my innate Britishness to ask. So if you feel like doing that, you'd be super welcome. And if you do that, you'll be making the secret project happen and getting some exclusive content. I will leave it there because I can't shill anymore. I am not Steve Turley. I've reached my limit. I have to draw a line there.
I'll pick it up from here then. So I've got a video I'm hoping to get out this week, which I've got the audio recorded. I've got the images. I just need to put it all together. So I probably won't be doing a Florida Man stream tomorrow because I really want to focus on getting that put out. So expect that. I would say Saturday.
Okay, nice.
Just make sure you got your notifications and that you're subscribed to my channel. Links in the description so that you don't miss it.
Yes, everyone's links are in the description as standard. Now, Shrouded.
Hello.
I've hopefully had a few minutes to think. So I should have actually warned you pre-stream because I usually remember to. But whenever we get someone on for the first time, I always like to just sort of ask them about how they feel about horror films. Frequently, that is someone who says they never watch it. But coming on.
I'm a big horror fan. Yeah, probably my favorite types are like the I like a bit of extreme gore, that sort of thing. A bit of
oh, nice.
Brain Dead.
Okay.
I like the old the Herschel Gordon Lewis type of things.
Oh, like 2000 Maniacs?
Yeah, all that like really sort of schlocky, super gory stuff. Yeah, I like anything really. I like a bit of Italian horror. I like I went through a phase where I was trying to collect all the video nasties. Back before things were like being streamed, I was trying to like collect like videos of all the video nasties that were illegal to own in the UK. So, anything like that really.
Yeah. Oh, it's an achievement back in the day, wasn't it?
You
have to really hunt it down. Virgin. Actually, HMV stopped Faces of Death 3. I saw that there once. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I remember when you could get like DVDs of pretty much all the video nasties, but you'd get them home and then you'd find out like about 30 minutes of content had been cut from them. So I used to try and get like I ended up with like really dodgy like home video home videotape copies of Men Behind the Sun and Cannibal Holocaust and things like that. Yeah.
Oh, you're really watching the hardcore stuff then. Men Behind the Sun. Now, is that about the Japanese unit whose numbers I forget?
Yeah, I forget the numbers as well. Yeah,
that's
some
pretty
kind of
stuff.
Yeah. It's a good series of movies. The Men Behind the Sun 4, I think, is really disturbing. That's the Nanking Massacre. That's a really good movie, but horribly disturbing. That's the kind of thing I like, I suppose.
Darkling here has got ahead of me here because this is what I was going to ask you. When you said I really like the extreme gore, I was like, okay, is that going to be sort of 80s latex and paint? Oh, thank you, Bilbo. That's the one. 731.
Unit 731.
Thank you, friend. Oh, Mergit's got it as well. Thank you. Yeah, I was figuring it's either going to be like 80s latex and gore explosions, or it's going to be French extreme. Did you watch any of the French extreme stuff, like Martyrs?
Martyrs, I liked. Yeah. What was the other one where it? I don't know if I'm going to give a spoiler, but it was really good all the way through, and it turned out to be a dream or something at the end.
Oh, yeah. We'll not spoil it for people, but the one
you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I
I'll say it in French. Attention. I really liked, and we'll hopefully cover eventually, À l'intérieur. I've mentioned it so many times. Inside, which has the basically the inside the womb cam.
Oh, right.
If you haven't seen that, I'd say that's probably my favorite French extreme. It's got a really unique concept. It was one of those ones I really struggled to finish. That really got to me.
Oh, I'll check it out. I don't think I've seen it. I don't recall a film with a inside womb cam.
Yeah, I mean that's brave. It was 2007. You can imagine CGI at that time.
Aye.
Yeah, big risk on that, but I recommend that to everyone. À l'intérieur. Okay, nice. Yeah, so quite a range of stuff there.
Yeah. I feel like last 10 years or so, I've kind of fell out of watching horror movies, but I used to be big into watching them back in the day. I feel like streaming's kind of spoiled it. I feel like getting them on demand constantly is kind of. I felt like when I had to go out and seek out the movies on video or DVD, I'd watch them more because I'd gone out the house and actually sort them out. Like now that I can just get any movie I want on demand, it's changed the experience slightly.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah, I would say it's a much different experience than to just going up to your local Blockbusters or Capital Video, as it was in my case, and just fishing a movie, or if the movie that you wanted wasn't available because all the videos had been rented out, then having to try and find a different kind of movie and hope that you sort of like struck gold with it, or if you were unlucky enough to get mugged off by it.
Oh yeah, I was going to say exactly that. You've got limited choice, so you kind of have choice paralysis these days because it's like it could be anything, it could be literally anything. How can you tell? You basically just get you're kind of just going off the poster. Whereas when you had a limited choice, it was a little more informed. You knew you were going to have to get something, and you had the back of the VHS to look at. I remember one that mugged me off massively was Graveyard Disturbance, which looked quite badass. But then you used to get this in the video stores when they'd smuggle really low budget stuff in. I mean, Netflix does this too, but
yeah, I remember from video rental days, I used to go up, like, it wasn't even like Blockbuster. It was like my local news agents would have a weird selection of videos at the back of the shop, and they were always just like weird, random. It seemed like whatever he could get his hands on for that week. It was just like weird, dodgy films, and I was too young to buy the horror movies, but I remember like looking at the covers of things and trying to imagine what was going on in these movies. They were probably terrible.
Did you ever have someone who would come round like on a weekly basis and have all like a bunch of movies or like games in the boot of their car, and you'd rent off of them from there? Because we used to have that where I live.
That is epic.
Yeah,
I've heard of this. I've never seen it.
Oh yeah, it was so good. She was such a wonderful woman as well.
I remember when I worked in pubs, there was a guy who used to come around the pubs with like a suitcase full of dodgy DVDs.
Yeah, we had a North Korean lad who did that.
Yeah. I think it was a Chinese guy. That's strange.
Yeah, I only know he was North Korean because he told us about how he escaped there and what would happen to him if he went back. Harrowing stuff.
Yeah. When I was working in King's Cross, we had that same thing. Just you're sitting in a cafe, a Chinese woman comes in, backpack full of dodgy DVDs. I was like, oh,
yeah.
£1. Yeah, right.
Yeah, and you'd sometimes end up with like, it was like a pre-production copy of something with where the special effects weren't quite completed. And
Yeah,
I remember them.
Oh yeah, good times. I do get what you mean. Like, I feel sometimes weird. I might go off on a bit of a tangent here, but I feel weird sometimes as a horror channel because I focus on horror here, but I don't feel like horror movies are like my entire life. Whereas a few of the horror channels I watch, it does seem like horror is their entire thing, and they present it like they get up, they eat horror for breakfast, they're having horror movies for lunch. You know, they have to watch absolutely everything that comes out, and I can't do that.
Yeah, Dead Meat's a great example of that.
Yeah, there's a point when you've made it through. You know, you're actually on. Was it part 6 of the Wrong Turn series? You gotta reevaluate. You gotta think maybe it's time for chess.
I didn't even know there was a sequel
Until
a couple of years ago.
I knew there was one, and then I'm like, there's 6 of them.
Is it Elijah Dushku?
No, I think she was only in the first one.
Yeah, but that's the one I'm referring to. She, you know, that for me was the only film. And then I heard they made a remake. I even found out today that they've brought out like a Netflix series of Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
I only just found out today.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
I hope it's better than the other films.
Yeah, I don't know if they've found the magic touch yet for Resident Evil. It's a tough one. I mean, we should talk one time about why it's just so darn difficult to adapt horror video games, but that would be taking us off a bit.
Yeah.
I think paying all due reverence to Super Nanny, who I did not get the meme up for. Oh no.
Oh no.
Unprofessional. Oh dear. In deference to Super Nanny, I think we'll probably move on. I'm building up way too many of these now. They're getting worse. I'd say the Human Centipede version of this is probably the worst one we've done.
Oh God.
Why, man?
All right.
Your mind.
Sorry, what?
What goes through your mind, man?
Oh gosh, just horrible things, as you know.
Yeah.
That's why I've got to balance it out, keeping it nice and healthy, keeping it wholesome, looking after the chickens, you know. Like I say, I keep this to a small part of my life. I'm obsessed enough already. So, yeah, I want to talk about this chap. This chap right here, his name is Mike Flanagan, in a slightly unflattering pause, but I think he pulls it off. He is a director of tonight's film, and he's someone who I think is really making horror worth watching. In a time when I think we were getting oversaturated with the really quick found footage or sort of the Conjuring style stuff, I feel this is a guy who is doing something very, very different and making more focused horror, more ambitious horror that really does a lot for character.
Yeah, I mean, I'd call him. I'd say he makes horror for the thinking man, from what I've seen and heard of his other projects. So not the Midnight Mass or Hill House, but I've heard they're both pretty good, apart from the last episodes.
I will get for that. Interesting, it's horror for the thinking man I like. But I wouldn't say elevated horror, and he doesn't either, which is just, I love that. He has not jumped in on that craze, and I truly appreciate it.
No, not.
So I just thought we'd go over his work, if you fancy, see what we can recommend. So has anyone seen his 2011 debut, Absentia?
No.
Darn it.
Do you recommend it, Horrorshow?
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh. I hear it's all right. Go watch it.
I think it's the only... There's 2 of his that I haven't actually managed to watch. But that was his 2011 one, and I thought that would be just... We can mention it briefly, but we can't really give a recommendation. We'll skip over it. The second film from 2013, that is Oculus, which we're going to discuss tonight in great depth. He makes that off the basis of his student film, Oculus Chapter 3, The Man with a Plan. They really wanted to make it Oculus as a found footage, and Mike Flanagan was dead against it. Okay, we have a recommendation. Thank you, Mergu. You've saved us. I don't know where I'm going to find it, but I do want to track it down. We'll not go on it too long, because in 2016 it's where he really starts to pick up. He has a bit of a break, and then he has a whole bunch of films that all come out at once. So he's kind of low in the pecking order, and I get the feeling, doing just sort of quick contract work for films that maybe he isn't super passionate about. It does happen. Ty West was asked to do the, I think it was either the second sequel to Cabin Fever or the remake. My instinct, it was the third one. It does happen when you're an up-and-coming director, you kind of take what you're given. And one of those was Ouija, Origin of Evil. That was a...
For that.
Sorry?
Just sent you a screenshot for that.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. I will go for that. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. All right, hang on. I'll get that up. This one interested me because it was basically advertised as this has no right to be good. It's a prequel to a mediocre film.
Okay.
And, I thought... I didn't mind Ouija, but his prequel was actually a massive improvement on what they had in the first film, which really helps him stand out.
Do you know who agrees with you on that?
Oh, who?
Sci-fi.com.
Oh.
Yep. They said, in all honesty, it surpasses its original source material in every way imaginable.
Yeah.
There you go.
We saw some really creative camera work. We saw better developed characters. We saw one of his series regulars, because he does love to work with the same actors over and over again. One of his trademarks. Also in 2016, Before I Wake. That was another Netflix job. They had a bit of trouble getting that out. It was slightly delayed. That is the other one of his that I did not see.
I've not seen many of his films. I'm just going through the list now.
Oh, okay.
And apart from The Haunting of Bly Manor, which of course was a TV series, and just what we've watched now, I don't really think I haven't really seen a lot of his material, but I've been impressed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't think I've seen anything else by him.
Oh, okay. Oh, man. Okay, right. So Before I Wake, I saw it as just like a kind of cheapy Netflix job, basically. I wasn't excited about it.
Yeah.
And I fancy it, given that I know he's directed it and written it, but it's, from what I saw, it kind of a spooky kid who does spooky stuff. I'm like, I wasn't into it too much, but I probably will give it a go. However, Hush is the one that I think really gets people's attention.
Right.
Now, is anyone familiar with that?
No.
I'm expecting chat. I know there are going to be Hush fans in the chat.
Man, I've seen literally nothing.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that's a good one. Shrouded, did you see it? Sorry?
No, I don't see a thing. This is the only
okay.
Flanagan film I've seen. So I was just checking out his IMDb page. I'm thinking, I've not seen any of these.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'll share that because that's probably going to be easier. All right, here we go. That's just what I'm working off there. Okay, so Hush, this one, massive recommendation. Okay, massive recommendation. It's a slasher with an adapted twist, a really great twist that carries the whole movie. And it's that the main character here, played by Flanagan's wife, Kate Siegel, she's deaf and mute, and that is used to great effect. So basically, in the slasher film, she can't hear if the stalker is near her, and her ability to get help greatly hindered. They make massive use of the premise.
That is pretty mental.
It's really, really well done. Lots of effective scares. A sneaky little inside Easter egg where they actually have the Book of Midnight Mass, his later series, was there as a prop.
Nice.
And something I really love is that they went to great effort to have Kate Siegel do accurate sign language. It's one of those little quirks of mine. I get super annoyed when there's bad sign language in films. It really does my head in.
Oh, you can do sign language.
I learnt basic sign language many years ago. It is lapsed horrifically, but I used to be about level 1 or just over, and go to a cafe for deaf people where you had to order and do everything in sign.
Fantastic. Yeah, no, my stepdad, his parents were deaf, and so whenever we used to go over there, he'd like do all the sign language to talk to. I mean, we didn't need to because they were fantastic at lip reading. But then if they wanted to speak to us back, they would then sign to my stepdad, who would then tell us. It was I wish I learned it, to be fair. I wish I learned it. But no, that's really good.
It is very cool, and it's also unfortunately much abused in film, where they're kind of like, that'll do, that's close enough. And it drives me mad. So Hush is a massive recommendation, a really strong recommendation for me. I think you'd really like it. Dobara See Your Evil is a remake of Oculus. Do not worry about that. Gerald's Game is absolutely fantastic as well. With this, Flanagan kind of has an ongoing relationship with Stephen King's material. If you manage to watch the short for this, it really has that feeling of a Stephen King short story. I don't know if you got that, Tom, when you were watching it, where it really felt like a Stephen King thing.
The Oculus?
Yeah, the short version of it. I know you watched the short film.
Oh, I found it. I thought the film Oculus was quite Stephen Kingy in its the mental deterioration and all that. It felt sort of like something Stephen King would write when he was deep in his alcoholism.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, Gerald's Game was one that I've completely passed by. I loved the book of Gerald's Game, but I completely passed the movie by because I assumed it was just some Netflix rubbish. So I went through a phase where anything that came up on Netflix, I would just be like, it's kind of rough. So
yeah. I can totally understand that, and that is usually a solid rule. But in this case, they did a good job. It's not perfect, but it does have some incredible moments in there.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Sci-Fi's description of the film, and already I'm like, mate, that's mental.
It's a very tough story to adapt into a film, and it's like the classic Stephen King thing when you have so much just sort of going on in someone's head and building up little tropes and repeating them. And it's that sort of thing that was in the short as well that I really liked. And Flanagan's gone back to King multiple times. So obviously Dr. Sleep was made after that.
I didn't Dr. Sleep.
Yeah, I quite liked it, but I didn't like the end much at all. Okay. Yeah. What was it you didn't like about it, Haryan?
I'm trying to remember. When was it? 3 years ago? I just remember I just remember constantly asking, basically throughout the film, why is no one doing anything useful to stop this gang of people that are killing children? Because I know the police are obviously like useless. That's fine, but then people know about them, and then they're not doing anything about them. That's kind of what I remember of it. I've not seen it in ages. I only watched it once. Plus, I've never seen The Shining. So,
it's fair. Okay, well, that would the relationship to the Shining is what really bugged me about the end, because I sort of felt like it kind of felt like meme surfing. Like, we're back to the Overlook Hotel, so we have to hit all the things that you have from your pop culture meme knowledge.
Yeah. I mean, I got all that from references I've seen in various cartoons. And
I just felt like they were going through the motions to get all those things, so that kind of bugged me. But I like the start. I like the start very much, but the for me, the absolute prime material, the stuff that makes him stand out, if I can find it, it's this stuff:
Yes.
Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, and Midnight Mass. This is the absolute gold, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So would you say that TV series are where his strengths lie then?
Probably. I mean, I think that's where his real standout material is. I've kind of had a thing where I feel like it's hard to do a good horror that's quite sustained and quite long form. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. It's sort of...
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, I think of a TV series like Supernatural, for example, that has horror elements. A lot of the episodes that they do were kind of like filler episodes, just to sort of like pad the story out to get it to their magic 22 episodes. But with because obviously we covered the Haunting of Bly Manor here on this channel, every episode was relevant to the story. And was just brilliantly unique in its own way. And I still, to this day, cannot believe I missed all of the ghosts. I'm so gutted about that.
Well, yeah, it's touches. It is touches like that. You know, it's a complex. He takes a fairly short book, The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson, made into an already great horror, The Haunting, 1963. Most definitely not the 90s version. And he treats it as a loose framework to make something really complex and original. And so much of it is just like character drama and tension that makes you care about people, so that when he really gets horrible with them, it lands.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I won't give any details away, but the bit you already know about him taking the effort to have hidden ghosts is... a massive highlight.
I mean, if anything, it gives it rewatchability because you can go back and be like, "Oh, there it is," you know.
Yeah.
Which is quite cool.
Yeah, it really works on a rewatch, and that is a bonus. Although I found myself being a bit obsessed with trying to find them in the rewatch because I'd forgotten where they were. So I find myself just like watching them, everything except where I was meant to try and track them down.
Yeah. Am I right in thinking that you and both yourself and Harry and I don't know about yourself, Shrouded, but did you watch House of Haunted Hill beforehand?
I never did, no.
You never did? Okay.
I did.
The movie?
Oh, no. What did I call it?
You said House on Haunted Hill? Very similar.
Yeah.
Very similar name.
I always get confused. The one before it, basically.
So do you mean the prior adaptation?
Yes. So what was it before Bly Manor?
So before Bly Manor, it was The Haunting of Hill House.
That's the one. That's the one.
Yeah, Bly Manor is based on the works of Henry James and like sampling lots of his short stories. That was something that kind of bugged me, is how it moved off the main story quite quickly, but that's a real nitpick on my behalf.
Right.
I probably say they're very similar series. I would say The Haunting of Hill House is better. I don't know if you saw that, Tom, or if that was just like, it's Netflix, I'm not going near.
Yeah, no, I honestly just passed by everything good. But after watching Oculus, I'm kind of tempted to go back and check it out.
Bly Manor is the best TV series I've seen in my life.
It is fantastic. Yeah, it is fantastic.
I might go back and check out. I'll have to binge him though, because I kind of cancelled Netflix a few months ago, and then my wife got someone bought her for her birthday like a card where you get like a month free of Netflix or something. So I'll have to binge watch him over like a few weeks.
Oh, you got to rush it. Highly recommend. Can I recommend watch Bly Manor first?
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you do it in a day like I did? Do it.
I probably could.
Go for
Legend.
Yeah.
It got to the Wednesday and I was like, oh no, I need to watch all these episodes. No, so it was Tuesday we streamed at the time. And I was like, oh my God, I still need to watch all these episodes. Right. Multitask.
Much better. Yeah. if I'm going to recommend anything from Mike Flanagan, it's going to be the TV series and especially House on Haunted Hill. But I'd say start with Bly Manor, and then when you watch Haunted Hill, then it's like for me that's better, and you're just sort of leveling up. He also followed it with Mike Flanagan did not do Don't Breathe. It's a guy called I've done it again. I've forgotten his name. Fede Alvarez, who also did the 2013 Evil Dead. Really good guy. Really good guy. So if I'm... Oh, yes. We've got his final series that is currently out is Midnight Mass. I gather it was recently utterly snubbed at the awards ceremonies, but who cares about the awards? No one.
I could say a 4-letter word, but you wouldn't like me saying that on your channel.
No. Fair play. We'll skip that. We loved it, and that's what counts. I don't think it's his strongest, but I think it was very good. It was basically Salem's Lot on an island. And he even had the book Salem's Lot there as a sort of plot prop in the background.
Nice.
Very Stephen King influenced, very creative, deep themes, good characters. It is his favorite version, favorite thing he's done. It's very personal. I like it. I don't think it's without its flaws. The sort of influence on Netflix to get a bit more of Netflix politics in there is a bit disappointing, which is usually not a problem, but you start to really notice it in Midnight Mass. But otherwise, still very good. So of this, I would basically recommend everything for you guys that I've seen. It's all good, but if you only see one thing, Haunting of Bly Manor and Haunting of Hill House. And he currently has 2 more TV series in the works, what appears to be an anthology series called The Midnight Club, and The Fall of the House of Usher, which is doing the sort of haunting of approach, but with Edgar Allan Poe stories. So I like Edgar Allan Poe. I'm looking forward to that. We may eventually get a Netflix. We may get him touching, say, like Algernon Blackwood or Lovecraft's material. But I sort of dread to think what Netflix would make him do with that stuff. So maybe it's better if we don't.
Best not to think of it.
I think so. And that's your Mike Flanagan overview, guys. It's basically watch everything. He's really good. He loves casting his wife in absolutely everything, but she's pretty good. So there's not much to complain about there, to be honest. It's quite nice.
Sounds like he's a Tim Burton wannabe.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, you could make a crude joke about some of the perks of being able to cast your wife as a lesbian, as he did. Poor old Len Wiseman had to direct Kate Beckinsale, his wife, with Scott Speedman all over her. You know, so can't win every time when you do that.
Oof.
Yeah, no, he might have liked that.
Maybe he did. Yeah. I'll probably move off that. That's not the most family friendly topic, and we are a family friendly stream here. Mostly, we try. Oh, we keep it.
I'll take your word for it.
We haven't sworn once tonight. We haven't mentioned.
Oh shit! No, we haven't, have we?
Oh,
God damn it, crime guy.
All right.
What?
All right, folks. Well, we are going to get into the film now. Having given you your overview, I really could have just done that overview as watch everything he's done and do it in this order. But I just thought I'd give you a little bit of detail and personal take.
Nice.
I probably took a bit too long on that. Okay, folks. Okay. So covering Oculus, I will warn that we are going to go into full spoilers for this. But just going around, TCG, had you heard of this before?
I hadn't heard of it, no.
Okay, so this was totally fresh.
Totally fresh. I mean, It is
Excellent.
literally fresh. I finished watching it 40 minutes ago. So it can't get much fresher than that.
Oh, cutting it so fine.
Is it certified fresh by Rotten Tomatoes?
Certified fresh. Yes.
Oh, brilliant. Okay, how about yourself, Haryan?
I'd heard of the Oculus Rift, but that's a VR headset and nothing to do with this film. Apart from that, no, I've never heard of this film before, or even heard the word Oculus. So
Oculus Rift just went and sabotaged this film's Google rankings. It's brutal.
It really did, actually, because funny enough, I did Google Oculus to try and get an idea as to what the film was like, and I just got loads and loads of VR headset articles and ads. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, right, refine my search.
Yeah. Oh dear.
I'll just put in Oculus film like a normal person would.
Nah.
All right.
Because Google knows enough about me to know what I'm looking for.
Slightly sinister, but we'll allow it.
And that's why it gave you VR porn when you searched Oculus.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
I'm remembering that meme video now, and I wish I wasn't.
Oof.
No.
Gosh, but that's taking us into unsafe territory. Shrouded. This was a first for you as well.
Yeah, it was. I thought I'd watched it before when you thought this was what we were watching. And when I watched the trailer, I thought I've seen this before, but then when I watched the movie, I thought no, this is completely new. But maybe there's a movie that looks very visually similar to this. I don't know, but I feel like I've watched something like this before. I don't know.
Who's the cinematographer? Mike. I can't say this. Mike Flanagan. Apologies. No, not a guy I'm familiar with. Done a fair bit actually. Fair bit of horror. So he's quite known. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you might have seen adverts about.
Maybe I've just seen other movies about weird haunted mirrors before, because I'm sure there's been a few.
Oh yeah, it's a bit of a trope. I mean, one of the stories way back in 1945's Dead of Night was about a haunted mirror. I will take every chance to reference Dead of Night that I can. Absolutely love it. Honestly, guys, Dead of Night, probably the most memorable horror of 1945. In the cinema world only, obviously. When I offered you the films from the psychological horror arc, I remember you're quite open to all of them.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you went for this. Would you want to give just like a quick overview, or we could just sort of get into it?
A quick overview of the plot.
Yeah, let's say someone in the pub asks you about this Oculus film.
Well,
should I watch it? What would you say at the bar about it in about 2 minutes?
I don't know. I'd say it was if you want a decent sort of haunted house type of horror, spooky mirror. I don't know what I'd say about it.
That's a challenge. It's always, how can you sum up the film in the time it takes to pour a Guinness? Haryan, do you want to do it? Take the Guinness challenge.
Oh, well, you know me. I love the Guinness challenge. So there's we've got this pair of siblings. Can't remember their names because I always forget their goddamn names. Kaylee and Tim. Kaylee and Tim. And we start off with this little horror scene where you're not really sure what's going on. They just run through that little house with a guy with a gun walking through it. And already you're obviously like, oh, what the hell's going on? Turns out it's a flashback from Tim, who's in a mental hospital, talking about a dream. And as the film goes on, you find out that Kaylee has got something that both of them know about. And it's like, oh, what's this family secret? Turns out it's a mirror. And Kaylee has been obsessed with this mirror because she thinks that it forces people to do bad things. And so she sets up in their old family home a lot of contraptions. And I really enjoyed the scene where she goes through absolutely every part of her plan.
Oh, I think
where
I
she's
have
got,
that.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Where she's got alarm clocks reminding her to eat, alarm clocks reminding her to replace video camera tapes. And they're all set up around the mirror and around the house to make sure that people know what's going on so they can see themselves doing things.
I knew you would love that scene.
Yeah.
I knew it.
And
that drove me mad, that scene. I just kept telling it to my wife and saying the levels of autism in this woman right now were just off the charts.
Oh, I loved it.
She's perfect.
And Tim's the voice of the audience, or everyone who isn't me, saying you're mental. Like, why are you so obsessed with this? Just forget about it. But she's obsessed because it basically ruined her life, and she's got a new fiance who calls in to check on her every hour, top of the hour. And even there, she's like, "Oh, you're 7 minutes late." Right, all right. Speak to you in 53 minutes, and I'm like, "Oh yeah,
yes,
I'm enjoying this." And so while that's happening, already there's a few. You get flashbacks at the same time, so you know what happened in the house earlier on. So you know they moved in. You had a husband and wife, obviously their parents, who, you know, it seemed like an okay marriage, but as the story goes on, turns out it's not as okay as you once thought. The mirror's making weird things happen. It's making the dog go mad. It kills the dog. We're not even sure it kills the dog. It just gets locked in the room and then dies. And then, so you've got, and these are all flashbacks. These are all going on while at the same time in the future. You've got Kaylee and Tim basically talking about memories, and he talks about psychology, obviously, because he's been in the mental institution. So he's learned all this. And he mentions, you know, our memories might be wrong because we don't really have records. We have more feelings of the past, and then we put them together and basically make up memories. And she's like, no, I definitely know all this. I definitely know something's up with that mirror. And then they get surprised when they think there is a poltergeist in the house or something. But then they watch the cameras and they realize it's them. And then as time goes on, the film just gaslights its characters and the entire audience. And it's like that for about 40 minutes. And it's very entertaining to watch because you don't know, because the fiance turns up and he gets stabbed in the neck. Spoiler.
You're not sure. I love that term, gaslighting. Gaslighting you while telling you it's gaslighting you.
It's so good. Because this is where they're moving the cameras towards each other, and Kaylee's certain that that's a poltergeist or the mirror doing that, and then they watch and it's them doing it, and neither of them remember doing it. So that's when Tim's also somewhat convinced something's going on. And then they keep getting, and then even the story in the past is interesting because the wife starts getting taken over by the mirror, just starts going crazy, becoming demonic. After the husband is basically saying she's going nuts, and then he's going slightly less nuts, but he's still being really weird, especially with his, like, telling his kids just, you know, they didn't have food in the house, and he's just saying, oh, it's on my list, I'll do it. But he's clearly possessed. And eventually basically knocks the wife out after she tries to kill Kaylee. And he says, right, she's fine. She's going in the room. You're not allowed in our room at all. Don't go in there. Obviously, that gets broken. Otherwise, what's the point of the setup? Turns out he's chained her to the wall, and she looks like she's lost a bottom jaw or something. Like, she looked creepy, or she didn't have lips. She looked very, very creepy, and it's in the dark as well. And she's trying to break herself free. And so all these things are happening in the flashback. At one point, she escapes, doesn't she? And she escapes, and then starts killing Kaylee again. But then stops after she manages to fight back the possession. But the dad still just shoots her because it looks like she's killing her, which is fine. And then you find out what happened at the start and why the kid went to the mental institution. It's because the dad then threatened to shoot Kaylee, presumably because of possession. Tim stopped him, picked up the gun. Well, he whacked his hand with the golf club and then picked up the gun, pointed at him, said, let her go when he started strangling her. And then he turned around and pointed the gun at his own head with it still in Tim's hand and shot himself. And then that's why Tim went off to the mental institution. But then you flash forward and it's like, well, what's going on here? Well, it's parallels. He was being possessed. And an important thing we missed is that there's a contraption to break the mirror as a fail-safe. There's a 30-minute timer with a big old swingy, I don't know what you'd call it. Not a Gillen.
I think they called it an anchor.
Yeah,
they
like
actually called it an anchor.
Just like a sharp instrument with a dumbbell on it. That's supposed to smash.
It reminded me of a Nightmare on Elm Street, that did. I wondered if it was like a nod to that. You know, when they bring Freddy out of the dream at the end of the movie and they've got that sledgehammer set up above the door.
Oh, yeah.
It made me think of that. I was wondering if it was like a nod to that.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, it's the That it's an odd part of Nightmare on Elm Street, isn't it? I mean, one of the best. The way she just preps the whole home. Yeah.
But that anchor basically goes into the back of Kaylee's head. She's put in the mirror in one of her flashbacks. They kind of don't show it you properly. They just show you the aftermath, and then the police are like, "Oh, look what he did to her," and then it just shows you. And I'm like, I'm kind of glad they did that because that was brutal.
Absolutely brutal. I had a take on that. We'll get to it, but waifu does not agree with me, alas.
I thought as soon as they showed that contraption, I thought someone's going to get hit by that.
That's
Oh, you've got to. It's your classic Chekhov's rifle, isn't it?
Just like waiting for it to happen.
Come on. Yeah. I do like gruesome deaths in my horror films. But then he gets institutionalized again, and his whole family's dead. Well done, Tim.
Wait. Nailed it. Yeah. I mean, this is a heckin' massive pint of Guinness.
Right,
I'm going to assume you're shouting someone around. Maybe.
There's a lot to go through in this film. It's
I know.
quite complex to explain, but it is very good.
I love it. because you didn't mention this, but this movie is a WWE Studios film, as well as like Blumhouse and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, during the, I'm just looking at the IMDb bit because I was thinking to myself, surely there must be a WWE reference or something along those lines because I noticed there was no actors in it, and I found the reference, and I can't believe I missed it earlier. During the auction scene where the mirror is sold, the auctioneer mentions that the mirror was acquired from the Levesque estate. So, for those who don't know, Paul Levesque is Triple H's real name. Triple H, of course, who is married to Stephanie McMahon, whose father is Vince McMahon, who is in hot water at the moment. We won't talk about that. Who owns CEO or stepped down as CEO recently of the WWE.
Oh, that is an interesting development I'm not aware of, but maybe if you... it sounds like an off-stream thing. Maybe
Very much so. Very much so.
Okay. For discussion off-stream, but yes, this is one of the weird things... as you say, WWE financed it. It's an early production, so lots of little studios kicked some money in. WWE was one of them, branching out, of course, from where it was just trying to build things around its wrestlers. And we did cover See No Evil on stream. One of my most disastrous predictions for you, Haryan. But nevertheless,
it was a surprisingly good film for a WWE film, as was this.
Yeah, you surprised me. And delighted me with that one. So, yeah, there is that reference. Apparently, it's an accident, but I don't really believe them. I don't believe it. Also, a Blumhouse production, which is... but it seems to have been fairly hands-off. And impressively, Jason Blum was not pushing for sequels to this, which I really appreciate. He's very happy for it to be a one-and-done thing.
Yeah, thank God.
Yeah. So this is a nice example of an early director building something off a passion project that he produced a short for. You can watch the whole short on YouTube. It's 32 minutes long. And it's just one chap in a room basically working a really condensed version of the story where he basically plays Kaylee's character. It's very intense. It's very fun. It's very Stephen King, where you just kind of build something out of nothing and out of someone's memories and talking to themselves. It's a good time. And there's a fun cameo from the guy who is in that we'll get to in this. One aspect of this that I really wanted to talk about quickly is just how much I noticed it inform The Haunting of Hill House. Now, this won't work for anyone on stream, but this scene here is so like the beginning. This aspect of the children locking themselves in the room and having to escape from parents who are, how can we say, let's say threatening parents not acting like themselves. So many of the setups here, it's straight out of The Haunting of Hill House, or rather, The Haunting of Hill House used this exact setup. Like, it's absolutely uncanny. I gather chat can hear Gatsby.
I can hear Gatsby.
Yeah, Gatsby He needs to wait his turn because you're speaking at the moment.
Yeah, no, he's not going to though. He's the king, I'm afraid. He's just gonna. That beautiful cat is just gonna butt in.
I was gonna say this in the first scene reminded me of Ready or Not. Because you're following kids there while someone gets murdered. This is essentially kids and someone getting murdered.
Oh yeah, I mean that is the vibe. But honestly, when you watch Haunting of Hill House, you're just gonna be like, I've seen this. They did this in Oculus.
God damn it, Mike Flanagan, do something original.
Oh, what a fraud! What a hack fraud, eh? No, it's great. It's great. I hadn't put it together, but I just noticed, like, oh, very nicely done. I'm going to be thinking of this as kind of a prototype for a lot of the type of horror that he'd do. But this is, of course, just a warm up. Once we've got, we have to have our early scare, don't we? Even if it is ultimately a dream in this bit.
Can't go wrong with an early scare.
Yeah, it sets up the mystery. As you said, we basically find out what happened in the past, but that's a point of contention between the two of them. And it's quite nice tension. They clearly like each other. They clearly love each other. She clearly cares for him. But she's also incredibly driven. And she has this version of... she has her version of events. He has his. And so the film very smartly needs to keep it ambiguous. And so it just slowly cancels that information out. And I loved how they did that. The structure just works with the story.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, like, it's a very slow burner in both flashbacks and present day.
Yeah.
Because nothing really creepy happens till maybe half an hour in, maybe a bit more. Maybe it is a bit more, actually.
It did take quite a while for them to get back to that. I found they were doing setup, doing the kind of they had to do like the setup for both timelines.
Yeah.
There was a lot of build up between both. I found that to be a little bit. I mean, I suppose I didn't mind it too much, because it sort of helped form sort of where both the current day characters are now. What I really found interesting was the fact that they were having this essentially a debate during the middle of Kaylee's autismo machismo moment. And guys, I can say that it's fine, don't worry. But yeah, it was quite interesting seeing them having this debate on like because like Haryan said, that the whole gaslighting aspect of it, I felt like I was sort of being roped into Tim's side for a bit, and I'm thinking, oh my god. But then when they go back into the room, and then obviously they're seeing them put away the cameras whilst having this massive debate, and they're like, yeah, we didn't do that. That's when you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love the old Mulder and Scully vibe, right?
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of, actually, because they would do that a lot in the X-Files, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I'm just going to say here, UK Death and Black Metal, mate, we're spoiling the whole film here. So when we talk, we're going to cover every detail of it. So if you are cool with being spoiled, stick around. But if you want to see it like unspoiled, then you go ahead and you watch on the replay. I just don't want to spoil the film for you, mate, if you like to watch it and enjoy it, not knowing anything. But I strongly recommend it. Let's see, where were we? So like the skeptic and the believer dynamic, I think, is really strong. But I liked that I felt she had a really strong motivation.
Yeah.
Like her thing is like she's got to do it because she doesn't like her dad being thought of as a murderer. Like she's trying to clear his name.
I thought at this point, I was writing down my predictions as I was watching this, and I thought they were going to set it up that Haryan Gláeddyv's character was going to be. It turned out that she was crazy all along, and she'd done all the murders herself, and she'd gaslit her brother into thinking he'd done it or something like that. Because it was like they were setting her up to be like the crazy one, and they made her seem like really obsessive and all that at the beginning.
Yeah.
So. I thought that was going to be the twist. I was wrong.
Yeah, it interested me that she didn't end up in that. I know, obviously, because Tim was the one who, well, he didn't kill. She found out he didn't kill his dad. His dad sort of, pulled the trigger for him. But it was interesting that he ended up in the mental hospital, whereas she just got farmed off to the foster system. I did say to my wife, I was like, why isn't, because she went through the exact same traumatic ordeal. Surely she would have been describing the same things that her brother had described. Why was he in the situation that he was in?
He's institutionalized because he killed. Well, the police think he killed the dad. She was just not doing anything. So
my wife. Yeah, funnily enough, my wife said exactly the same thing. But just with the level of trauma and the fact that there was obviously a mental, not necessarily, she did anything criminal, because she didn't, but the fact that they went through such a traumatic experience, and they're both naturally, you would expect them both to describe the same sort of things. Like, doesn't sound like there was much therapy for her.
I think she resists it, and that's something I really like. There's the kind of subtle. I'm not saying this is a based film or a dissident film. But I kind of liked that little thing where she's saying to him about the real thing of like official structures, the system, if you will, is like, it's got a very rigid interpretation it will allow. And I thought, I quite like that. That's nice.
I almost wanted it to be like a twist and she was the nutty one. I almost wanted it to be that.
They leave room for it. I mean, she goes into dark places, when she's going to sacrifice the dog,
Yeah. Oh, my God.
That was one of the bits I found weird when Tim is like, oh, you're killing the, you're torturing the dog. Listen to it. Just like, yeah, leave it. And so his reaction, what he does with the dog is he just lets outside as if to like run away and be a stray.
Yeah.
I was so confused by that.
I was like, just leave it in the kitchen.
Yeah, I was like, is that any better?
Yeah, I know.
But
yeah, the dog did get a bit of a short shrift, didn't he?
Yeah, it's kind of just like, oh, the dog's run away, just don't think about it anymore. And I'm like, I don't know.
I mean, boy and girl got better treatment in Bird Box, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
There was. I like that you raised that they have this argument when she's doing her massive explanation here. I thought this was such a good choice. Shrouded, you'll remember from the short that a major part of that 32-minute short film is the guy giving basically the same speech that she gives, setting up the system and giving the history of the victims of the Lhasa glass. Almost exactly the same history, actually. And this one, quite wisely, they break it up by having him interrupt her, because it's a really long sequence.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I can appreciate is obviously she's had 10, 15 years to like 10 years to plan and prepare this. So it was believable in the way that she was presenting it. I do agree. It was sort of going on for a bit. And then when Tim sort of butted in and was like, oh, hold on a minute. Wait. I've just got out of the madhouse. All right. What are you doing?
Yes. So very welcome, to be honest. I mean, I really like the short. I thought it was well done, but I was so grateful to have this broken up. And best of all, I think you kind of touched on this. Tim asks the question that the audience are going to ask.
Which is?
Why do we not just break it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then it's, then he picks up a stool and they're just like, why'd you put it down? And he starts coping like, oh, you've got to do it. Like soy jack Tim.
Yeah, I wish I'd memed that. I really wish I had memed that. Okay.
The chat, Karen Gillen. Why did you put down the stool?
Yeah, as you said, I really liked looking out for that. There were a couple of moments like that. How can I say? You're told and shown that the mirror is manipulating them, and you're shown this consistently. So it's really cool to catch these little moments where you can tell that the mirror's put a specific thought into their head. Like, did you notice right at the end when they're standing outside, he says, look, we've got a plan. All we'll do is we'll go in, we'll deactivate the anchor. And it's like, why did you say that? Why did you add deactivating the anchor in? It's like the mirror clearly put that little bit in to the plan that didn't need to be there.
Should have just done nothing, like he said.
Yeah, well, the mirror wouldn't let them leave it, would they?
No, because then, because then they're looking through the window, aren't they? And they see them both standing right in front of the mirror, like, essentially blocking the anchor or getting in the way of it, And they're like, should we? And they're like, no, it's a fake. It's a oh no.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that is a complex scene. That's a scene I have many thoughts about. Before that, though, there was one thing I just wanted to get up there. So this is one of the other scare sequences I kind of forgot about, where they have Haryan Gláeddyv actually get her hands on the glass.
Yeah.
I really like this bit.
Yeah.
I think this
was
good.
This was
This was the bit where I thought she's crazy. It's going to turn out that she's crazy because she was seeing the thing.
Yeah, I mean, Shrouded, do you want to talk us through this scene and roughly what happens in it? Like, give us the overview of this one.
Oh well, the mirror's stored in some kind of warehouse, isn't it? And she's just purchased it. Is that right? Yeah.
I think someone else has purchased it, but she has lied to get it redirected to her house.
Yeah, that's it. So she's going into this warehouse and she's looking at the mirror, and behind her there's these sort of busts covered in a shroud. And
yeah, shrouded.
They're shrouded.
What do you say? They're shrouded heads.
Hey.
And then when she's looking in the mirror, she sees a third one, and I really like this, how it was so subtle, like the little movements of the heads, as if there was something under there, but you sort of just barely saw it. It wasn't like a big jump scare. It was just she'd look in the mirror of her reflection and she'd see this thing sort of moving slightly. I like this whole sequence.
Yeah.
And then she turns around and she's like slowly pulling off the cover off each one, and she's getting down to she pulls off one and it's just a normal like statue head, and then she pulls off the other and it's just a statue head, and then she's just reaching in to pull the last cover off this mysterious third head, and then she's interrupted.
I loved it so much. I mean, you knew she was going to get interrupted on the third. That it worked so well. I also like everything in this scene makes sense. There's a reason for it to be here. There's a reason for the statues to be hooded. And you're learning about her character, that she is super active. She's proactive. She sees that and she's like, well, I've got to investigate this. I'm going to find out. She doesn't run away.
She says something when you got the picture there where she touches the crack. She says something like, "I hope it still hurts," or something strange like that.
Yeah, she does.
Yeah,
it's an intriguing line. I mean, it's quite a challenge to make a mirror scary and evil. Yeah. That is quite the challenge. But I think they build it up. I love it. I don't know if I'd said already, but this guy at the right supervising the delivery, that is the star of the original short. Oculus 3, The Man with the Plan. So Flanagan going back in, I'm afraid I didn't confirm this, and it's absolutely irrelevant to the story. But I think the two guys who move the mirror in here are the same two guys who move the mirror in the short as well. And I could be wrong, and it has no effect on anything, but I'd like to know if it was. I meant to look that up. Like I said, it has zero impact.
But it's a nice little nod if it is, then.
Yeah. you also early on before they really get into it, because I think once they start the sequence in the house, they're kind of locked in. And as Mike Flanagan said about writing it, he wasn't sure how you fill it out and make a 90-minute story. So you do have this sequence building up to that, including what I thought was quite a good dream sequence, quite a good nightmare sequence. Just some good visuals, and again, making this look nice and creepy, where Karen Gillen has a night terror. Her husband's not massively supportive, I noticed. He was quite casual about it. Like,
his fiance.
Oh, fiance, is it?
Yeah, fiance, yeah. No, well, I mean, what do you do when your partner's in bed with you and screaming because it's a night terror, you know? I don't know.
Yeah, it was just like,
colour a bit, you know, it'll be okay.
Another one of your night terrors, dear.
Exactly. Like, she'll get over it.
I suffer from night terrors sometimes, and I'll just say my wife acts more annoyed than that. She doesn't sound supportive. She's like, oh, you're just having another bloody nightmare.
Okay, there we go, Shrouded. We confirmed it's accurate.
Yeah.
It's accurate.
Yeah. Not enough annoyance in his voice, I'd say.
She should have been so much harsher.
I know my mum gets annoyed at my dad for his night terrors because he usually ends up kicking her in his sleep. So, yeah, he has to go to the spare bed whenever he has one.
Oh, no. Booted. Actually, so we haven't touched on yet. Well, we're talking about the character. I really loved her mum, or I should say their mum, played by Katee Sackoff. Any Katee Sackoff?
Yeah,
I'm getting that name right, aren't I?
I don't know who Katee Sackoff is.
Katee Sackoff. Okay, yeah, that is her. From Battlestar Galactica, the reboot? The remake, rather? No?
Oh, she plays Bo-Katan in Star Wars. That's how I know her.
Oh, what's...
She's a Mandalorian.
Oh, right, sorry, I don't...
Star Wars, Clone Wars. No, it's a Star Wars thing. You wouldn't understand.
I wouldn't. I did.
Wow.
Savage. It's not a story the Jedi would tell me.
Exactly. It's for the big-brained people that want to be entertained.
Shrouded, are you a Battlestar Galactica fan, a Katee Sackoff appreciator?
No, I reckon I've seen her in what's that show with all the nerds? The comedy show. She was in that as like herself, wasn't she?
Really?
Big Bang Theory. I think she was. Was she not in that for an episode? I felt like I'd recognised her from somewhere, and then I was looking up her filmography to see what she's been in.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's where I recognise her from. But yeah, I'm not a Battlestar Galactica fan. No.
That's fair enough. Bit of a cult favourite, I'd say. TCG, you'll have seen her recently in your Supernatural binge.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm trying to think which. Oh my god. I'm trying to think which episode was it?
It's like third season. She plays a ghost.
Oh, see, now I kind of cheated. I jumped to the fourth season, but no, I.
Oh, fair play.
But I was trying to think where I'd seen her from before. But she was also in Riddick as well.
What?
Yeah, she was in Riddick.
She did Riddick.
Yeah, she played a character called Dahl. I only know that because as I was sort of looking like through the IMDb, I was going through that. She was also in the Flash TV series. So I've seen her in quite a few things, but but I like her.
Yeah,
she
I loved her in this. I thought this was a real. I hope Susan doesn't mind this. I mean, that's not indecent, is it?
That's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, I really loved her character. I thought she was the thing where, it's this gorgeous actress, but she's sort of massively insecure around the cesarean scar. I love that detail.
Again, this was just another Chekhov's gun for me because, we'll set this up, set the scar. And then obviously later on in the film, she gets sort of manipulated by the mirror and then just starts cutting into it. Grim.
Oh, it's wonderful as a point of horror. I just found it made her a believable character, for her age, and like she's insecure about that. And then when the mirror starts working on it and has her husband, he calls her like a grotesque cow or something?
Grotesque cow, yeah, he calls her a grotesque cow. Can we just refer to the husband as White Jordan Peele?
I will go for that. He does look like Jordan Peele.
I'm wondering if Mike Flanagan hired this guy intentionally, just as a dig or something. Because like when as soon as I saw him, I was like, this dude looks too much like Jordan Peele. This is unreal. Stop looking like Jordan Peele. I couldn't get into his character just because of how much he looked like Jordan Peele. I'm going to keep saying it because
okay.
I was going to say, are you going to keep saying Jordan Peele?
Yes.
Does he look like Jordan Peele, Crime Guy?
He looks a little bit like Jordan Peele.
Looks like Jordan Peele.
Looks a lot like him.
Jordan Peele. Jeez.
Oh crikey!
Who does he look like, Crime Guy?
See, now I'm not going to be able to unsee it. Yeah. But yeah, I love this relatable point of horror. This really worked for me. I thought they sold it, and the scene where she thinks he called her a grotesque cow, and you see how much it hurts her.
Yeah,
I thought that was amazing. Sinister.
Yeah, that was a really good. I think at this point the whole audience knows that was down to the mirror, but yeah, God, if looks could kill, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, TCG. We got to call him Jordan Pale.
Jordan Pale. Yes.
Oh, incredible. Incredible. You'll love to see it.
There's a pun at the. It's legt mir auf die Zunge. It's right there. I've nearly got it. And there we go. Jordan Pale. There we go.
This is why I have you on my Florida Man streams. For those who don't know, I streamed last week. Horrorshow wasn't on it because she was doing family time. But she still decided to drop into the chat and drop absolute pun bombs. It was incredible.
I doubt to be family friendly on your stream. Have a great time.
Yeah, that's it.
No, okay, that's good. That's good. While we're on the family, I'd also say that the family helped deliver one of the most memorable scenes in here. You can probably guess which one I'm going to go for in terms of like pure horror.
Is it one where she's chained?
Nope.
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So would someone like to tell us what happened in this? For people who didn't see the film, I'm going to assume
They could tell what he did. He ripped his own nail out with the staple clipper thing. It was horrible. It's really graphic.
But yeah, I'm saying for people who haven't seen the film and don't mind us just talking all the way through it, this I love as just a brilliant demonstration, a visceral, wince-making, I can't watch anymore. Waifu actually looked away. She refused to watch this.
Yeah, I had to look away.
Oh, speaking of waifu. Nice.
Right.
If I could super chat you guys, I would super chat for that. That's amazing. I feel I should thank you for that one. That's brilliant. Oh dear. Okay. Yeah, so this worked for me as a visceral demonstration of kind of the rules of the game, which I really liked. Like, this is a weird premise. And so they make sure you know the rules really clearly, and I like that. I love films that do this. Final Destination being a good example. I'm a sucker if you give me a film that I need to learn the rules of. So yeah, sorry. Someone want to go through what happens with the scene?
Well, he's got this plaster on his finger, which I don't even know if we know why, but it doesn't really matter.
It's because he's biting his nails, isn't it? At the beginning,
why.
he's like chewing his nails down.
Yeah, that'll be why then. So he gets these, I don't know what you call it, crocodile clip, I guess. That's not a crocodile clip, whatever. It's a thing to remove, staple remover.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of looks like he's playing around with it, and then he just starts pressing it down a lot more, and then you see a bit of blood, and it just looks like he's fiddling with it, and he's slowly twisting it. You can hear the nail coming apart. It looks back on it, and he's ripped it off, and he's like, blood all over the finger, and the fingernail and plaster are in the staple remover, and you get a lot of close-up shots, and I didn't like it.
Yeah, the best is just how they clue you in with that little cutaway that the plaster's off. And it's just like, know it. It's that beautiful, dramatic irony, that tension. We know something he doesn't. And waifu could not watch this scene. She looked away in absolute disgust.
Oh, I can't watch a man remove his fingernails. You suck in the SAS.
Well, here's the thing. I thought he was going to go with the. I thought he was going to just like clip through the entire finger, and then like rip a part of that off. But it was even worse that he done the nail. Because I was a bit like, oh, okay, that's going to be harsh. Yeah. And then he did the nail, and I was like, oh my god, right, no.
I've seen way too many fingernails get removed lately. It's creepy. The Fly had that as well. Do you remember?
Yes. Oh my gosh, yeah. But there's something really weirdly like disgusting about things like nails being pulled or things going in the eyes. It just
oh god, stop.
Just it's just terrible. Like, give me someone gutted like a fish any day of the week in a horror movie, right? But stick a needle in their eye or pull a fingernail out and I'm heaving. And I don't like needles as well, actually, just as a personal thing. So I can't
Bilbo, disavow.
No,
his fingers.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing with this is like that these highly detailed things like fingers or teeth. It's like that's actually weirdly relatable. Like I have only been disemboweled a couple of times in my life, but Brick Lane will do that to you. But things like damage to your fingers, cutting your fingers, standing on something really sharp, I can relate to that. I can then, when you can relate to it, the reaction can be so much stronger.
Yeah.
There was a phase like you got so many films that would focus on teeth and pulling teeth out.
Yes.
Like there was a few bits in this film, wasn't there? About biting the plate and stuff.
We got teeth horror as well.
Yeah.
I think that bit was worse actually, where Kaylee just bites into the light bulb.
Oh my god! Yeah,
they really focused on that. You can really feel the pain. It's not just like ow, ugh. It's she has got a mouth agape for about 2 minutes with blood coming out.
It was the plate bit that got me. That's a bit of when the mum's upstairs chewing on a dinner plate. Really
hungry, love.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to think about that second scene, which also that one also I feel is kind of like a showcase scene.
Just to touch on Shrouded's point with the eating of the plate, Katee Sackoff has quite, and I don't mean this in a mean way, but she's got quite a wide mouth as well. Like if you've seen her,
like a grotesque cow, yeah.
No. Like, she just has, but she has a very big sort of smile, and again, I'm not trying. I'm. It sounds horrible. I'm not being horrible. I'm actually.
I hope she listens to this and hates
It's endearing. It's cute. So when she's then like munching into this plate and her teeth are all being like all falling out or like breaking apart. It was for me. It was genuinely like horrific to see her specifically in that condition, just because when I think of her and I think of the Ross, I do think of.
I don't know why the size of the mouth came into this.
No, it's just because she has such a wide like smile, like she shows the teeth basically, and it was really noticeable the fact that all of her teeth had been like damaged, ripped out, or broken because of what she was doing with the plate. And I think if that was a decision that Mike Flanagan made specifically for her character, I think it was a very good one.
What you thought? You've got a big wide mouth. You look good eating a dinner plate.
Yeah, basically.
I think he just wanted a horror scene, dude. I don't think the mouth came into it.
Well, I don't know.
You're saying you didn't go on to the casting director and say, like, look, I need someone. Hey, have you ever seen Rainbow? I need Zippy. You're saying that didn't happen?
Well, I can neither confirm nor deny, but
okay, yeah. Let's say it would be like the equivalent of doing eye horror on, say, Summer Glau or something like really massive eyes. Yeah. Where it's kind of like their defining feature.
That's what I'm trying to. Thank you. That's what I'm trying to say. Her mouth is a defining feature of her facial characteristics. I'm butchering this.
What are we doing, man? Why are we talking about a mouth? So
no, I'm just saying because of the horror inflicted upon her. It for me was quite noticeable, and it just hit differently.
I can't wait to go 20 minutes in for you to bring up a grotesquely big mouth again.
I'm right, and you know it. I'm right, and you know it.
So, moving away from calling wonderful actresses deformed,
I'm not calling her deformed.
Yeah, we call her
wide mouth.
Oh, dear. So, yeah, I thought of this as just like another showcase scene. Like, this would be the films often have just like these showcase scenes that everyone remembers, everyone talks about, and I feel like this is one of those moments. Kind of like alongside the carrot chopping scene in Color Out of Space. It's going to be like the one I remember from this. And this is my first rewatch of Oculus. I've only seen it twice, and I was waiting for this scene to come back. I had forgotten about the absolute atrocity that their dad does to his nails. So that was fun. But this stuck in my head so much. Just another brilliant example of they've set up the rules and we know exactly what's at play, and then they mess with us. Like you see it coming, right? You're waiting for this.
They set it up before with the where it's like, the mirror was in this place and this woman chewed through an electrical wire, and then you show her face and she's just missing the lower half of her face, basically. It burns off. So it's all set up from that, which is great. But and then it slowly moves on to a close up of a light bulb and a plate and a grotesquely large mouth. So
apparently I've been cancelled.
Good, you should be.
Oh, I should. Anyway, I've sent a picture to prove my point.
I don't know. I don't know.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I reckon she could have taken a bigger chunk out of that plate. I think you're right.
I think you're being cruel. Anne Hathaway.
I'm being cruel. I'm doing a
Anne
bit.
Hathaway could take her in a chomp off. Easy.
Well, true.
Again, I just want to clarify. I am not trying to be mean to her. I actually think it's very endearing. But sure,
I like women with big mouths.
Yeah? What's wrong with that, Haryan?
I don't know. It's just a weird thing to have a fetish for.
Use your imagination. Family-friendly stream. Anyway.
Oh, dear. Family-friendly. Please, people. So you notice we got the scene, and then, like, the obvious... this is kind of a point about story construction, really, about set up the rules, adjust them a little bit, give people time to realize what's at stake, how things work, and then mess with them. Put the rules to the test.
Yeah.
So for reference, this is what we're talking about is a scene where Amy, no, not Amy, that's her Doctor Who character. Kate, I knew I was going to do that as well.
Names, to be fair.
And they are time traveling.
It's true. I can be forgiven.
Or we're time traveling at the very least.
We're going all over the place, but I just think thematically it's great. Just an example of how when you plan your story well, you can set things up.
Imagine if they used the same kid as Amy Pond for this film.
That would have been good.
I don't know. I don't think that Scottish girl can do an American accent.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah, so it was after setting us up, and especially when they gave us a fake out with the apple scene.
Yeah, I really like that, actually. Yeah.
Which is also sensible because, like, she wouldn't be able to speak after that.
No.
But the other effect of that, you might come away from that, I think, feeling that they kind of cheated you a bit. But it also, because they did a fake out with it, and a very effective one, you still got freaked out by seeing the damage that light bulb did.
Yeah.
You have been primed from the fake out to be with Kaylee when she's thinking that it's another fake out here, when she's stabbed, when it's basically tricked her into stabbing her husband. You are primed to think it's another fake out. Fiance, I did it again. Oh dear.
Details, man.
Yeah. How did this scene work for you guys?
Yeah, it worked all right for me. It worked well. I like the establishing of, she was able to like start to tell what was real and what was fake through the camera of her smartphone. And then when she stabs her fiance in the neck, and then she's like, "Oh no, it's not real." See, and then she slowly pans up on her phone, and he's in the image, and it's just like, "Oh."
I still wasn't sure if it that established it as being real or not, because it sort of said like you can mess with your electronics, and when they answer the phone and they're getting the calls off people that aren't really there. Like, how could it not just mess with the camera?
Yeah, I did think that as well. I was kind of like, is it still mucking around with our main characters? I did sort of settle on, this is probably the case, but I would have, if that was another fake out, then that would have had me.
Because I thought it was strict. Like, I just thought it was weird that guy would be there. Like, he would just come down. She told him to call her every hour, so he'd just come down to the house and just wander in randomly. I thought it was just a weird thing to do.
I don't know. If my girlfriend was doing something like this, I'd probably go down and surprise her. So I don't know.
Yeah. I felt like towards the end of the movie, I was still kind of a bit unsure as whether or not he was actually there or not.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure either. I thought it was a fake out, to be honest. But
although he might have gone down to the house, because it's established later on, literally moments after this, when he phones her back. Hi babe, just checking to see if you're all right. That actually, that's probably been going. He's probably been unable to contact her for well over than an hour at this point. So he's probably gone down to check to make sure she's okay. Hence, why he's there.
It's down to interpretation, I'd say. I think it leaves it a bit open ended.
Either that,
good thing.
Either that, or he's disobedient and he deserved to die because he didn't follow simple instructions. Therefore, sucks to be you, mate.
I actually, on the point of him giving phone calls, I liked that on camera she was just like, "Oh, I've told my fiance that I don't trust my brother who's just come out the nut house."
Oh yeah,
like, I'm right here.
He's like, "I'm in the room."
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, it's not personal." It's like, to make it better. Like, come on.
For an incredibly tense thing, like, I love that they got little moments of comedy like that in there.
But can you also say foreshadowing, as it's ultimately him that kills her?
Oh, totally. Well, I thought it was also believable writing. There was one bit of writing that was a bit unbelievable that I thought kind of dated the show a bit. Hang on, where was it? So do you remember the scene where her fiance, not husband, approaches her in the office because she's done creepy printouts? Do you all remember the scene?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because he's taken off the network.
Yeah. That didn't work for me. I mean, like, she's a white woman in her 30s. Why are you thinking it's strange for her to like true crime?
I know, right?
You wouldn't need
but
to
she's doing it
explain
at work.
Now. She wouldn't get
printing out pictures of dead bodies at work.
She's just hopped on the true crime bandwagon.
She's just catching
no
up.
Questions asked.
Come on, Shrouded. You know what our analytics look like when it comes to our subscribers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might as well.
And we love you all, guys.
We love you all. Pumpkin spice came from, very dated indeed. Shocking stuff. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I like the thing with the fiance because they. I mean, I feel like they did kind of confirm it because she sees his ghost, but And I feel like they only do
maybe.
that. The mirror
No,
only
that's a
does
good
that when
point.
it's really got someone.
That's a
But
good
it
point.
is amazing just how much it continues to mess with her, especially after letting her get confident that she thinks she's in control, she thinks she knows the rules.
Yeah.
And then you realise, no, it's still messing with you.
Yeah, it was pretty much hopeless for them, for all of them, for both of them from the start. Sorry, my cat's scratching up my armchair.
Yeah,
she wants attention, but instead of meowing like Gatsby, she just decides to terrorize everything.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Like in line with the whole thing of they can't trust what they see. I might as well cover this now because I might forget it later. But it's towards the end. This scene where they've gone outside and they think they're outside. Sorry, they see themselves inside. I wasn't as sure of this bit. And this is where I do kind of a weird rewrite. Because we've already established earlier in the film, there's a bit where Tim thinks he's gone outside, but he hasn't.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I had in mind, like, would it have been kind of cool if they think they're outside and then suddenly, they've never left. And the only thing when you realize that they're actually still inside is when you still see the anchor suddenly slam through the back of her head. And you realize then that they never got outside. And do the reveal that way after building up that sense of safety?
Maybe.
Did that make any sense? Sorry.
So yeah, some. So basically just have them believe that they're outside.
Yeah, convince themselves that they've got to stay outside. They can't beat it. We're just going to watch. We're going to stand out here. We're going to do the countdown. And they're fretting and fretting over, but we need to be able to prove it. We need to catch it on camera. We need to prove it to people. I need to, I need to clear Dad's name. And then Tim is just insisting but we can't prove it. We don't even know what's going to be on that those tapes, if it's going to help us or not.
Well, I mean, yeah,
we don't know what we've seen. We don't know what we've done. We don't even know if we're outside.
I mean,
and
pretty
that's
much
when it hits.
I mean, pretty much from the jump, when when they see the camera footage has been manipulated to where it looks like they're the ones putting the cameras in place. I mean, that doesn't prove anything. I mean, yeah, they know it's supernatural, but anyone else looking at that would just see them two arguing while putting cameras in odd angles. It's at that point it should have been. Maybe we shouldn't be in here right now. Like, we're not getting what we want, and I don't know. I mean,
I can't see her giving up that easily.
No. I get it. I just feel like they set her up as like being this super over prepared person, but the reality is that no amount of preparation could have prepared. Could have set them up for what they were about to experience. I mean, they'd already experienced it before. Like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, we needed a film, so we got a film and a good film. But I think it was very apparent that no matter how much preparation you could put into this, like, you ain't getting one up over the supernatural.
Yeah, it made me wonder why. Like, I did wonder why they would go back and try and set up all this stuff when they knew how it affected people in the first place, like from their experience as a child. Like, why would they go back to it and do all this stuff? It's weird when they.
I mean, the motivation behind it is to clear their dad's name, but it doesn't, and to prove to the world that her brother isn't mental. But I don't know how effective a motive that would really be.
Like, it seemed like it was way too dangerous to go. Like, at the beginning when she was setting up all the cameras and she was like, right, I've got water here and I've got food and I'm getting a phone call every hour. But surely she should have known that it would start messing with them and start messing with the phone calls and all of that stuff and mess with their heads.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, she had 11 years to think about this, and that's why we had 10 minutes of her explaining, "Oh, these are all my precautions."
Yeah.
I think
So
it's
she
that
will
classic
give herself
hubris
sense of
as well,
security.
basically.
Yeah.
Sorry, I talked right
No,
over
it's
you
fine.
there.
No, it's fine. No, you're right, though. Yeah, it's sense of hubris as well. She thinks she can beat it, and she's going to, in her mind.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just Tim is like trying to stop her, and he won't leave without her because he's got nowhere else to go, really.
No, that's it. I feel
So,
sorry
like-
for Tim most because, like, you know,
It
he
was the mirror.
you know, I know that in the mental hospital they sort of, you know, rationalized his experience to a point where he was able to cope, if you will. Like he was the one who really got over it and was able to move on, whereas Kaylee was the one who had basically stewed over this for the last 11 years. Like Tim just wanted to get back to normal and just wanted to try and live the rest of his life, whereas Karen was, like I say, she was on this like mission to prove to the world that everyone was right. It's just like sometimes the risk heavily outweighs the reward, and it's like you should have just been grateful that you got your brother back in one piece. And yeah, it was a shame that she sort of dragged him back into it. Yes, and this image as well, like when, oh my god, yeah, this image when she's setting the cameras back up again and she's walking towards the cameras. Obviously, she's not; it's the spirits, but Tim's seeing that. I like that.
Such amazing use of the premise. Like,
Yeah.
as you say, she has got a strong motivation. She can't leave it alone. She's planned it, but it's a hubris. She thinks she can beat it.
Yeah.
But best laid plans.
And again, I go back to it, you know, Tim, yeah, okay, you know, they believed he killed his dad. And so, you know, he got all the professional psych help and all that stuff. Kaylee, I feel, was very much forgotten about and just sort of run through the system. She never got the time or the opportunity to sort of process what had happened or talk to people, you know, to even if it was just to rationalize her experience, even if it wasn't true, but the opportunity for her to be able to process that so that she could live some form of normalcy. Because up until she gets wind that she can get access to the mirror again, the impression that you get is that she seems to be all right. You know, she's got this fiance. She seems to be doing well for herself. But as soon as the mirror comes up, it's all about that. And she even says to her fiance, like, you know, it's been a weird few days, but you know, it will get better, I promise. Whereas Tim was like, yeah, that's all good that you found the mirror, but I just want to live. I just want to get back to normal.
Yeah. Shrouded, did you have any any notes on that stuff about her motivation? Or
just what I said already
all the
about
way through? Sorry. I was just wondering if you ended up revising the idea that that it was her, or if you sort of stuck with that the whole way through.
No, I pretty quickly revised that. That was just like
okay.
I was writing down notes as I was going through, and I was thinking, if I write down what I think the twist is going to be, and that's what it turned out to be, I'll be disappointed. But I think pretty soon, I think it was soon as they had the cameras facing each other and they watched the video back and they saw that it was them that did it. You know, that was the sort of moment where as well, it can't just be her being crazy.
Yeah, it does spin it round on you then. It's such a fun, satisfying scene when they do that revelation.
Yeah, I really liked in the short, which I wish they'd done more of this in the movie, where in the short the guy, you can see him on the monitor and he's sort of turning to the camera on the monitor, whereas in real life he's not doing that and things like that. I wish there was a bit more of that in there.
Oh yeah, I
really thought that was really effective in the short, and there was sort of a few moments where they could have done something like that, where they've got all the monitors set up in the room with the mirror. They could have done a bit more like strange stuff, you know, where you see something in the monitor that isn't really happening in real life. I didn't think there was enough of that.
Yeah, they did a whole mix of things. They didn't lean too heavily on any one thing, but I liked those moments, and they could have subtly built them up a bit more.
Yeah,
so that the monsters were just a tiny bit off each time.
Yeah. I think probably if I've got like a criticism of the movie, it's that it started out really subtle, and then it just went from like 0 to 100. As soon as like the lights went out, it just suddenly went crazy, and I felt like it maybe needed like another 10-20 minutes just to keep building up the sort of mind messing element of it. I don't know if
I could go
that
that.
makes any sense.
I feel it was about the right length for the story that they had to tell, but yeah, it does accelerate rapidly.
Yeah.
It sort of switches through different modes of horror a lot as it goes. When it switches more into the backstory, it feels like a very different type of horror film.
Yeah. Also, it could have worked just as like the backstory element, just without the future bit. It would have been a very different movie, but
yeah, I did find the sort of back and forth between the adult and the child characters, and then when they started like mixing them about and whatnot, I found that to be a little bit jarring, because I didn't really know at that point which was what was a flashback scene, and then what was actually happening in real time.
I think that was sort of intentional, wasn't it, to sort of disorientate the viewer,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
Actually, yeah.
I mean, they really built that up, and the flashbacks got more and more. How can I say, integrated?
Yeah,
where you've got the adults are just in the past, and that intensifies as you go on because you're just meant to completely lose place of where you are.
Like I didn't mind it when the characters like because Tim at one point he was pretty much just going around watching his younger self and sister essentially reliving that night. I didn't mind that bit, but it was just when they started like changing themselves into like the younger and older versions, and it sort of threw me a bit. But if that was intentional to cause confusion, then yeah, it had its desired effect.
I think one thing I found with the jumping back and forth was because it was trying to tell two stories at once. I felt sometimes the characters didn't have enough time to establish, like the bit where the mother went crazy and the father locked her upstairs. There could have been a little bit more sort of building up to that.
Yeah.
There was a bit like we could have established a bit more the relationship breaking down between the father and the mother and the children.
I'd agree with that. It did go quite quickly to. I mean, I think it was well done, but it does move very quick. Like,
when
her just glugging wine at the table. I thought was really good.
Yeah, those are the bits I liked best. And when when they're asking the dad for help and he's just staring into the mirror and he doesn't care, and they're trying to ring like help and they're just saying, "You've got to ring. Your dad's got to ring us." I really like those bits, and I kind of wish there was a little bit more of that sort of. This sort of breakdown of their life was sort of a bit more detailed, perhaps.
Yeah, I was a big fan of the stuff where actually they were both kind of innocent, and it was just you knew no one had done anything wrong.
Yeah,
but it was all the mirror, like when the dad is scolding the kids, or in terms of like the weird breakdown stuff, like her having the wine was really good. The bit where she freaks out the kids by saying, "I bet you I can get this entire table in my mouth." That was a kind of weird, disturbing horror that I wasn't expecting.
How about how
could as well?
Probably. How about this? Right, make these two, because like Shrouded said, it's telling two stories at once. What if you make it two separate films? Okay, so you get more time to flesh out the original. So what happened in the past, that's your original, and then obviously as when the kids grow up, that's your sequel, and you can tie them both in. So for example, like there's one bit where adult Tim looks into the bedroom and his younger self looks up at him. You can have that in the first film as like sort of blurs or like, you know, spirits that you can't make out, and then in the sequel, the second film, you find out later on that it's actually Tim, for example, looking back at his younger self in those flashbacks while he's having those hallucinations, but it's almost like a projection of him is being sent back to the past. So it's like it's a loop. It's like a time loop.
Okay. I like that you may enjoy future Mike Flanagan projects. He may enjoy that idea.
I just think that would be quite cool, because then you get more time to flesh out the original story. So you get to see, like Shrouded said, the breakdown of the family in more detail, and you'd be able to tell. Because I was really intrigued. I was interested in that side of it, to tell you the truth, like to see how. Because, you know, everyone looked really happy. It was an exciting time for them. They just moved into a new house, started a new business. It was all going well for them. And then it just slowly starts to go wrong. But I felt like, even though I say it slowly breaks down, I feel like the film had to sort of force it to speed up a bit, because, you know, what is this, an hour and 45 minutes? So you've got, so, you know, you don't have that much time to be able to sort of share two stories into one movie that just has a slightly more than 90-minute runtime, and not skip some details in order to get to the conclusion, you know.
I mean, that could totally work, and you could do both versions could work really well, and the idea of like the adult kids coming back and trying to fix it would really work as like a full film, I guess. The only problem is, and I'm ready to be booed here, thematically and symbolically. Okay, no booze, good. All right. I did a lot of what this film is doing thematically and symbolically is talking about the effects of childhood trauma and like disturbed childhoods, childhood domestic abuse on people as adults. And this idea of like, the children are literally retracing footsteps. They're repeating cycles. They can't escape from it. Like they keep seeing their sort of childhood horrors, but they're also disputing what they see. I think like thematically, that's a lot of what this is playing with. And the story structure is there to really help bring that theme out, which is, I think, why they have to have it in one, where you have the characters basically unable to escape their past or really like draw the distinction there.
Boo.
I know. Look, I've got a talk theme. This is the whole thing I do here.
Stephen King's It and It Too. You know, you talk. You could argue the same thematic purpose of those two films. You know, childhood traumas in adulthood. You have two separate films, which tell that story in far more detail. The reason why I'm sort of thinking that sort of method with this, because I had it in mind when I was thinking about, like, they could just tell these as two separate stories and have them sort of linked together, you know, almost like an Infinity War and Endgame, if you want to get marvelous. But yeah,
Infinity Jaw.
Exactly, yeah. But oh god, I'm not going to let that one.
Sorry.
Not going to let that go, are you? But no, yeah, just thinking of something, you know, like if it can tell that story in that sort of way, then I don't see any reason why Oculus couldn't have perhaps been split into two different films. And look, Mike Flanagan's, you know, you said that, you know, his series are where his strengths lie with regards to like House on The Haunting of Hill House and Bly Manor. You know, he can. So I just see Maverick in the chat. He can tell a story if he's got, you know, he could flesh out that story even more if he's got enough, if he's given enough time to be able to tell that story. And I can confirm, Maverick, I would love to see Stephen King's It 3 Back to the Hood.
I would just really like an It Part 2 that works.
Yeah.
Everyone can do Part 1 amazingly, and then I just felt they completely bungled Part 2.
Well, I think if Oculus was a two-parter, I think the second part would have been good. because it would, as I say, it would have tied into the stuff from the first one. It would have, because essentially what you are seeing there is a loop. It is a cycle. You know, they're reliving that childhood trauma, and essentially you get that in a hypothetical sequel. You know, and then it can even tie into the first one where, you know, if the children are seeing the projections of their future selves, but they don't know it at that time, that could be a metaphor for, I don't know, the unforeseen consequences of childhood trauma in the adults. Like it's almost like they can't quite picture how they'll be affected about this in the long term, but I'm rambling, but I mean,
that's fine. You could definitely have that in there. I just feel like it's massively purposefully in there in this one, and of course, the symbolism inherent in using a mirror is quite inescapable. That's always going to be symbolically loaded.
I think ultimately what I'm just trying to say is I wanted to see more.
I like that. I like that as a takeaway. There was another aspect to this that we should probably talk of in terms of interpretation that's quite inescapable. And I don't want this to come off as like a heavy criticism, because it's not intended that way. I'm a confirmed Buffy fan. So I do not mind the strong whammons. But that was very much a theme here, and I think the kind of strong leading woman maybe came on a little heavy, in that you notice because the decision to have Kaylee being the sort of dominant one, and her brother always takes the back step. I mean, it kind of helps that she's the older sister and he's the younger brother. That helps. And he's been
institutionalized for 11 years.
Yeah, but she also has, her husband is relatively weak to her. And relatively, you do also get a sort of, I find it does make it a tiny bit awkward, because when the parents are getting affected by the mirror, they're sort of, the threat becomes sort of parents versus children. And it's very strong horror. You know, you get wonderful scenes that I'm desperately looking for the screen cap of, where the parents, they go and try and get help, but their father sabotages them and the police won't talk. And I've got my screen cap. There we go. You've got that parents v children vibe, but later on you get quite a strong change, so it's more like the dad versus the mom, the men versus the women. You can't escape the symbolism of he becomes an abusive husband and like literally chains her up, and it feels like quite a pivot there.
I mean, sure, but slightly justified when she's trying to eat everybody.
I was gonna say I'd probably chain someone up who was trying to kill everyone in the house. Not gonna lie. I honestly thought he killed her there, though, but
so did I. Yeah, I did.
I think he just knocked her out. Yeah.
He did. Yeah, he chokes her out pretty quickly. You got to say that was effective choking.
It doesn't take long. I've had it done to me before.
Yeah, I mean, I like that as a sort of delayed horror, as you said, Harry. And once she's away, you're just wondering about her. It's a good setup for some horror to come. And then when they did do the reveal of that is absolute nightmare fuel. I mean, I've got the screen cap. I don't know if you want to see it. She's like very messed up from eating the plate. It's quite grim.
Yeah, I want to see it. I want to see a mouth.
I was going to say I want to see a grotesque mouth. You beat me to it.
Okay, all right. Hang on, I've got it here. There we go. I mean, this is a great image. Chained by the bed, it's absolute nightmare fuel. Oh,
but when you see, when you see the chain attached to the wall, it's just like a little clip. She could have easily undone that if she wanted to.
Yeah,
I always wondered, like, why didn't she just undo it? Is because she's like so insane she can't figure it out? It was just like, it wasn't like locked. It was just like a little catch.
Yeah, like a.
I had missed that.
Yeah. And when they go into the, when they go back into the house at the beginning, and he looks at the wall and he has like a flashback and he sees the chain. You can see how the chain's attached to the wall, and it's just like a little catch again around the thing.
Oh my god, of course, yeah.
But then there's the next question of why does he have a chain as a software engineer?
Hey. Hey.
It's a
what
blockchain.
happens, what happens in the bedroom stays in the bedroom, Haryan.
Well, that's true. You got
family-friendly stream, people,
you know,
please.
I've heard them software engineers are quite the kinky lot.
Oh gosh, I might. I mean, I might be off on the pivot on this a slightly men versus women vibe that it slightly moves into. I mean, Shrouded. Any takes on that?
I didn't pick that up, to be honest, and I usually notice that in movies, like modern movies. I see that all the time. I think also like when the brother's being the rational one at the beginning, and when he's saying like, "Oh, you're remembering things wrong," and they're having different flashbacks, and she's sort of remembering things differently. He comes across as like the sensible one. You know what I mean? Like, if it didn't turn out that she was right all along, then he would seem the more rational and in charge person in that situation.
Okay, fair enough. I'll take that one. I am the lone person seeing the dynamic. It's possible.
But I usually see that in movies. Like nowadays, there's always a scene where the female character sort of lectures, the male character sort of doesn't know what to do, and the female character sort of lectures the male character and how to proceed, and she's the one who knows the right thing to do in every situation. I always seem to notice that in movies. I didn't pick that up in this one, so.
It's the girls get it done type thing, isn't it?
It was it was very much like a reverse gendering of Mulder and Scully, wasn't it? I mean, I know we sort of mentioned it earlier on, but during that sort of like debate bit, Tim came across very much like Scully would, whereas Katee was definitely the Mulder type.
Yeah. And see, with Mulder and Scully, even though Mulder was often quite right, it was Scully that came across as the sensible, level-headed one.
Exactly. Yeah. Precisely. Yeah. And it felt natural. The conversations between like Mulder and Scully felt like genuine. The way they were challenging each other's beliefs, and that's how it came across here for me, at least. It didn't feel forced or like there was any sort of deeper meaning behind it. It was just two people just thrashing out their ideas or their opinions of what happened to them, and it just felt like a proper genuine like bickering between siblings, basically.
Yeah, that's the vibe I got. Yeah,
it's a strong dynamic. It's a classic for a reason, and they would. I like that it wasn't just skeptic and believer; it was believer in it with a strong purpose. So that, as I said, really like that. And the dad that we've been saying has been a bit of a bad guy. He does get a bit of a redemption when we get to the end, which I quite like.
Yeah. What? Sorry. I was still on the topic of the debating. I did love it when Katee was turning around to Tim, like after he'd give a completely rational explanation to something that happened, and she's just like, "What did they do to you in there?"
Yeah.
Oh, I loved her for that. Just be like, you've swallowed the regime propaganda.
Yeah, like almost like it was like Tim was like surfing QAnon for too long. What have they done to you? But it's like, dude, she's
the QAnon.
No. But she's behaving like he's the QAnon. Like,
oh, right. Sorry, I get
because she because obviously she's obviously right. So she is the rational one because it happened. But the fact that he was sort of espousing nonsense that she knew was nonsense, and was just like, what boards have you been surfing, lad?
Yeah.
But his whole like mental health hinged on him being skeptical, didn't it? Like,
yeah,
it was like when she started to convince him that it was real, you could see his mental. Everything started to unravel for him. I find that really interesting.
It's a really good point that he's got a stronger reason not to believe as she has to believe. It really does threaten him. Like if that's real, then he's been locked up unjustly for 10 years.
Yeah.
That's a really good catch. Yeah, I mean, I just love that there's so much in these characters, and the payoff to that. Because the big question is, what was their dad like? Was he a bad guy? Ultimately, when he gets a chance, he takes the bullet and on his son's behalf, and it's because he's had the bullet go through his brain. He's no longer conscious. There is nothing for the mirror to manipulate, and that's why he's able to. He flies back and cracks the mirror there.
Oh, I thought he got shot in the chest because.
Oh, sorry, in the chest. By the way, he dies and he's no longer conscious, so he's able to damage the mirror.
Because you've got the foreshadowing. Remember the first scene when he goes down to get to raid the fridge, and then he brings out that juice, and as he walks out, you see like the spirit, and he sort of like gets startled, and then when he turns around, he's got the like that dark red juice all down like right where his chest is.
Sorry, you're absolutely correct. Yeah, that is another bit of wonderful foreshadowing they put in. Yeah, it works. It's a lovely explanation that's how they managed to damage the glass, Whereas there's something in there about relying on the rational senses isn't working. I kind of love that challenging message. But from that, shall we move into our ending so that we stay on the right side of Super Nanny?
Sure.
With the we talked about it before, the absolutely brutal moment. They've been worked up into a frenzy, and we, the audience, have been worked up into a frenzy as well, because towards the end we are cross-cutting so quickly between the past and the present.
Well, it's gaslighting at that point.
Totally. And you're being gaslit as well. It makes it so much more powerful. That you don't even realize the two characters are in the same room, although they physically are. And you've got the kind of inevitable creepy visual of Kaylee seeing her mother in the mirror and going up and embracing it.
Oh, I really like that shot where because they actually physically hug each other through the mirror.
Yeah.
It's
touching. It's touching, and like you can see why she would go for that. It's a sense of forgiveness, but there are no victors in this.
That might be hard to see, but she does have a big kind of anchor through the back of her neck. I mean, even it was so well shot. I don't know how they did it, but I assume it's killing Gillen there. But she ragdolled really well.
Yeah,
it's probably the best way to put it.
It's absolute savage, and again, it's a special kill. It's not a stabbing or a decapitating. It's something memorable and specific. Yeah, and the way she's just kind of pinned like a butterfly there.
Yeah.
How did this one work for you, Shrouded? This
it was a satisfying payoff, I think, from the establishing shot of the trap up on the ceiling, and just knowing that it's going to hit someone. You were just kind of waiting for it to happen, weren't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, my favourite part is that they do kind of fake it out, because Tim's just like, right, it's time for this to be over. Lets it go, thinking it's going into a mirror, and from the shot, it looks like it's going in a mirror. And then you hear an organic splat, and I was like, oh god. And then you see the Kaylee just pinned, struggling, drowning on her own blood. Great scene.
Yeah. I think this film does such a good job, I feel, with what can be the weakest part of psychological horror, which is that if you know you're being gaslit, if you get the old, actually that was a dream, you can feel like you've been cheated.
Yeah.
Whereas in this, I feel like it's not a cheat. It's more like, I'm going to show you a puzzle that you have to work out. You're being given rules and your brain is being engaged by this. You know it's going to lie to you, and you're having to work out when it's lying to you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't feel like a cheat.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Nice. And and it leads us to this wonderful, devastating ending, fitting that theme of, childhood trauma can come back and repeat and cycle. You've got, oh man, I love this. Oh, for some reason that is.
It was so sad seeing all the ghosts.
Yeah, I'm just going to make that as large as possible, and we'll have to live with that. Yeah, it's, as you say, it's satisfying. It's paying off what's been set up. I might need to just. All right, it annoys me. Now, it fits now. Okay, I feel better about that. It's such a creepy. Sorry, it was the visual in the background. It wasn't sized properly. So I wanted to get all the parallels in there.
Well, you got them. There they are.
You watch Adam and Sitch. They spend like 2 hours of their streams just resizing images. Go on.
That's all they do.
You got to be used to that.
True. You got me there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just this lovely sense of futility, and then just the echoing, and Kaylee is added to the mix. I don't know what to say to it. I mean, it just works. It hits me really hard. Massive emotional reaction to this.
Yeah. Same window, same positioning, just with added, Kaylee.
Yeah, I get Supernatural. Again, I'm watching Supernatural at the moment, and I just got massive Supernatural vibes. The old demon eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was good. The good mirroring shots.
You might find
history repeating itself.
Parallel, yeah.
Indeed, very relevant to the theme. If you watch Midnight Mass, you will see Mike Flanagan loves his spooky eyes. But one thing I noticed in their eyes, I think it's actually mirrors. I think they're made to be super
it's
reflective.
reflections. Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yeah.
I can
such
see that.
A good little touch. I mean, I love how the ghosts are done in this. Where they flash up just occasionally, and you get, it's awkward because I'm getting screenshots, but in the film they're just sort of turning up very, very briefly, and then they're away in the next shot. Like in this bit, you only get the quick glimpses of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and but then you do get close-ups of them, like where both of them are looking at the mirror, and Kaylee's constantly saying she's not real as she's going closer and spookily saying stuff to them. I like that.
Yeah, they mixed it up. I found it nice and unsettling. I mean, how much would you say it sort of scared and unsettled you, Harry? And how did it work in generating
certainly
horror?
Unsettled, yeah. I don't know, 6, 7, somewhere in that region out of 10. I was pretty creeped out by this film, just in general, just from the different types of horror you were hit with as well. I mean, you're never going to feel comfortable in a film that's trying to gaslight you to Kingdom Come. So,
brilliant.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Kept very much on edge. All right, wonderful. We've got very much to the end of the film. We've covered the entire plot. Is there anything else anyone wants to add, or shall we stay on Super Nanny's good side and move on to scores and closing thoughts?
I just want to say that Katee Sackoff has a grotesque mouth. Right.
Wow. See, I never said that. I think it's a lovely mouth. It's a defining feature, and it's a very nice one. I just feel like Mike Flanagan exposed that for his own creative juices. I don't care what you manipulators say. I know what I meant.
Oh no. Oh dear.
Have I broken you for horror show?
Yes. Poor Katee Sackoff.
I'm gonna bring
really
you back.
Good actor.
I'm going to bring you back to reality. I've just sent you another image, Horror Show. Please, we need to cover this.
Is this what I think it is? Yeah.
I hope it is.
Is this going to be like the Jack? Okay, I'm going to.
And Shrouded, I'm going to invite you.
Shrouded,
Shrouded, I'm inviting you back on Horror Show's behalf for this.
What's it?
Oh, okay, I'm gonna put it up now. Shrouded. Public domain allows for some really weird.
Oh yes, yeah.
Uh,
I've seen clips.
Have you seen the You've seen the trailer?
Yeah.
This
Oh,
ain't
Yeah,
right.
it looks very interesting.
we do have space in September, so maybe. Hang on, Mima, is this true?
Wait,
Is
what?
this true, Mima?
Hang on, is this a hallucination? Are we
Oh.
being?
Are you sure, Mima? Are you gaslighting us? Are you messing with us there, bro?
That was something I noticed when I was looking up this movie. It was on lists of films that need a sequel, and
Yeah.
things saying that it's set up for a sequel at the end. And I thought I think it wraps up nicely, but
Yeah, I think it's a very complete story.
Yeah.
Making the point that you are trapped in the cycle. Like, if he comes
Yeah.
and resolves it, doesn't that sort of undo the story a bit?
yeah. Although I am a fan of when a horror series gets increasingly ridiculous with each sequel. Where it starts out
Yes.
quite serious and then they just get stupider and stupider. And I can imagine this sort of thing.
Hellraiser in space.
Yeah.
Child's Play comes to mind.
Yeah,
Although
yeah,
I
Child's
absolutely love that series.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
Friday
I like
the 13th.
Of
Friday the
course.
13th.
The Laser Glass Takes Manhattan. How about it?
Yeah.
All right. I think we might be there for getting on to our scores and closing thoughts. I've got Super Nanny's going to be over
Okay.
the moon with us this time. What's happening, guys? We're on a roll. All right. Well, how about TCG? If you want to go first, and then we'll go for you, Shrouded. As ever, we're using our patented and never changed score out of 12 burgers system for reasons now lost to the mists of time. that I've tried to shift it, and then I just realised now I really like scoring it out of burgers. So that's what we'll go with. Chat, by the way, if you managed to watch this, and I hope you did because it's an absolute beauty, give us your scores. We'll get them on screen as well. TCG, would you like to lead us off with the scores and closing thoughts?
I also like burgers, which is why I don't want the system to change. But yeah, no, I thought this was a really good film from Mike Flanagan. I felt for me there were sort of similarities to, I don't know, other things like Supernatural that I've been, again, just because I've been watching it a lot, I sort of saw things that looked similar. I really enjoyed the debate between brother and sister. I did like the flashbacks and the fast forwards to present day. It did sort of jar me a little bit when they started like intertwining those two bits and like actually like transforming the characters. But I mean, overall, it was overall it was well done. The horror, the scares, standard for these. I mean, supernatural sort of ghosts and things like that don't really spook me that much, but it was entertaining to say the least. The effects, like some of the practical effects, in particular, like with the nail being removed, the teeth from. I'm gonna bring it back, but Katee Sackoff's teeth sort of like being absolutely mangled by the plate.
Grotesque teeth, yeah.
Your words, not mine. I thought was brilliantly done. Nice little twist at the end. Good execution of Chekhov's gun with the old anchor. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it, and I would have liked to have seen. I would have liked, let's say, for it to be split into two films. Personally, just because I wanted more of the story, but I am happy with what I got. Yeah, overall, I'd probably say about 8 out of 12 burgers with a decent amount of tomato ketchup to compensate for the blood and the odd nail clipping.
So was that 10 burgers?
No, it's 8.
8 burgers. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
I'm the worst. All right. 8 burgers. Okay. Okay. Oh,
Yeah. No.
It's going to
please,
work one day.
It's it is a good film. But I think it felt a bit standard to me.
Okay.
But that's not a bad thing. The standard is good. It's an 8.
Okay. Bilbo, darn right. I am Mike Flanagan's biggest fan, even though I occasionally criticize him quite harshly. But yes,
Get wrecked, long man.
darn right. Long man, absolutely owned. All right. Shrouded, would you like to give us scores and closing thoughts, please?
Okay. What's the score out of 12?
Out of 12 burgers.
I'd probably give it 8.5. I really enjoyed the first hour. I really loved the first hour. And then I feel like once the lights went out in the movie, it slightly lost me a little bit. I feel like the first half of the movie it felt so much different to other horror movie I've seen. It was very light. It was very muted. The scares were very subtle and just really well done. And yeah, if it was like that all the way through, it'd be 12 burgers out of 12. But yeah, for some reason after the lights went out, it kind of all went a bit twisty-turny and back and forth, and it slightly lost me a little bit. I think I felt like it ramped up too quickly, and yeah, I think maybe like I say, an extra 10-20 minutes on there. It might have ran on a bit too long, but I feel like they could have established the mental breakdown of the characters a little bit more. Just I felt like there was a tiny bit missing in the middle, just to sort of a little bit of a pacing issue about an hour in. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed it, and I'm interested in seeing more of the director's work.
Nice. Yeah, I suppose when you have the flashback structure, that can often be used to like sort of do big jumps in time and sort of move you on in stages. So yeah, it can seem like a big rush in development. I see where you're coming from. Okay, that's cool. I'll be really interested if you do watch The Haunting of Hill House or The Haunting of Bly Manor. I'll be really interested in your take on them.
I'll try and binge them when my wife activates her month of Netflix that she's got. So
I'll do it. Yeah, sitting there raring to go. All right, here we go.
yeah, I'll give it a go. I did like the sound of the. I heard about the hidden ghosts in that. Is it the haunting?
Yeah, both Bly and Hill House have them.
Yeah.
They're very nicely done. There's no sound effects for them. They're just in there.
Yeah.
And some of them are really hard to catch, but you might find yourself just getting a glimpse. It's just a really nice touch. It
reminds me of that. Do you remember that Ghostwatch show?
Oh, we're covering that. We're covering that in August or September. Yeah. One of the one of my members requested that, so that is on the list.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. All right, good shout, good shout. And we'll I'll do mine quickly. I'm going to be out of pace with everyone else probably. This really works for me. I felt the theme was really strong and the structure supported the theme, which I absolutely adore. I love the dynamic between the characters. I love the design. I preferred the sort of unsettling stuff. And when it gets a bit frenetic, I was losing it a bit. But there are so many scenes that are just absolute showcases for me, including the bit we didn't really go for as much, but when the children have to break out of their room and their parents both go for them, moving in a weird fashion and my cat howling. That worked for me. That was incredibly scary. And you can see why Mike Flanagan went to that exact scene again. I thought it was an absolute winner. And then the ending absolutely slams at home with an original kill and some really disturbing visuals. I rate this massively highly. Hi, Gatsby. He also rates it highly. It's an 11 for me. But I'm very biased. I am very biased. I liked it. I liked it a heck of a lot. There are criticisms there, but not enough to stop me putting it maybe a slightly generous 11 I'll give you, but I really love this film. I'm taking points off because it does get a bit too frenetic towards the end. And there's some prop inconsistencies that move around a bit. And what else? I felt the husband was maybe a bit underdeveloped. Sorry, the fiance was a bit underdeveloped.
I found that. When he got killed, it was like, oh, I don't know that guy.
Yeah, could have done with a bit more. So those are where I take points off, or burgers even. All right, Haryan, over to you, sir.
Oh yeah. Yeah, everyone's underselling this film. Well, not everyone actually. Proper Horror Show, you're overrating it. But
standard.
No, this is a very good film. It's a very tight plot. It's telling a, not an overly complicated plot really. The part that gets complicated is trying to work out which part of the gaslighting is real and which isn't. That's the whole point in the psychological horror. You're supposed to interpret it your own way. And as we say, we're not sure if the fiance even died or not. And yeah, he was a plot device, but meh. I don't think he needed to be anything more than he was. He got fridged. Who cares?
Fridged.
Yeah, it's a term for like this character wasn't developed and then they just get killed. That's what fridging means. I don't know where it
love
comes
that. I've just learned a new word or a new phrase.
He did totally get fridged.
Yeah, I think I learned it on an EFAP episode where they went through a woman talking about fridging, and it was just she just couldn't explain it basically, or say why it was bad. But yeah, all the parallels going from the present day Tim and Kaylee to their past selves with the family. I enjoyed it all. The whole point in the past was showing you the mechanics of how it works. It slowly makes people paranoid, it did it with over a longer time scale in the past. But the mirror probably knew it only had a night, given how much it was trying to kill Kaylee. Because there was a scene where she's asleep on the mirror and then wakes herself up. It's like, oh, clever.
Yes, that was very nicely done.
Yeah, I quite like that. There's clearly the mirror just likes to do a lot of torturing before it actually kills people. And even then, it doesn't want to kill everyone. It clearly just wants to make people's life hell. Why it wants to do that, it's never even touched upon. And to be honest, you don't really need to know what the mirror's motivation is, because this is basically a character study of Tim and Kaylee. And, you character study them pretty well till Kaylee dies. And then, obviously, as you say, it's paralleled. Tim's being put back into the institutions. He's being pumped full of, the bureaucratic truths. And that's another thing I liked constantly, where Kaylee's saying, here's the events that happened, it was the mirror. And he's saying the dog died because it had a urine infection. It peed on the plants, that's why they died. There's loads of logic to this. And then that's all ripped apart when he watched himself put the cameras face to face with Kaylee. Yeah, all very well done, all very well put together. I don't know why the turning of the lights off doesn't do it for some people. I've seen quite a lot of people in chat say it, and Shrouded, I know it wasn't your favorite bit, but I kind of liked it as it was the film showing you that the mirror is completely taken over. Basically, they are completely possessed. This is all a gaslighting 10 or 20 minutes. It's all psychological horror, and it worked for me. I liked it all, so which is fine. It's just a difference of opinion. So I think final score is probably going to be 10 out of 12 burgers, and I want the burgers to be so big they don't fit into Katee Sackoff's grotesquely large mouth.
Bloody hell! I mean, big.
No.
Them gonna be some big burgers, boy. Right.
Burgers with a dinner plate in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yum.
Yeah, inside the burger. Brilliant.
All right. Okay, well, let's see. I did put a prediction out, so let's see how we did.
Well off. Swift Haryan prediction. The story is really tight. The focus is on developed characters with clear motivations. There are explanations for odd events, and characters ask sensible questions about the scenario. For example, Tim asking why they don't just break the mirror. This all makes for a highly rated movie. So much so that Haryan will be fine with the lamps disappearing from the stairs and Kaylee's underdeveloped husband. Underdeveloped as in not fully rounded, not in a John Burko way. Okay. There may be a gun issue I've missed, but barring that, this is an effective and deep horror movie that Haryan will give 10 burgers to. 10 burgers, no cheese, good ketchup, and something sharp in the bun. Potentially plus one burger for Haryan Gláeddyv.
Wow, you nailed that. It's a shame
Is
you
that
didn't know
the
about
only time I've been right for ages?
It's a shame you didn't. It's a shame that we didn't develop the Katee Sackoff mouth meme yet. Because I think you would have put that in.
Oh no!
I expect a Katee Sackoff mouth meme now. It's like completely ballooned up.
I'll see what I can do. All right, good stuff. Well, I can't believe I actually got that right, but I'm learning to think like you, Haryan. I'm learning to think like you.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Were there any issues with the gun?
With the gun? Oh, no, he only shot once.
Excellent.
It was shot like twice, wasn't it? That was it.
Yeah, it was only shot twice. No, he shot it. He shot her twice, 3 times.
Oh no, you're right. You know what? My bullet system didn't go off. I assume it was okay. I didn't know.
You're just into the film that much.
There was less. There was less than 6 shots, basically.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Assuming it was fully chambered.
There was a brief bit where they had a conversation about the gun, and I thought they were going to start putting in like a gun control message.
Yeah,
but it didn't really go that way.
No.
Yeah, I could sort of believe her attitude, you know, and I liked his sort of long stuff. Like, oh, what do you want me to do? And she's like, although I would be surprised if they didn't discuss that first, but yeah. All right, fantastic. Well, we are at the end of the show, so at this point, all that remains for me to do is, well, I'll be thanking the guests in a minute, but first I've got to do the horror homework, guys. We've got something absolutely. I think this is going harder than we go for most in terms of horror. So brace yourself. This is going to be a tough watch, especially UTCG.
What?
That's going to be.
Oh, for God's sake.
Wow, this is peak.
No,
isn't that what you just watched? That?
No, I've had that.
It's Oculus again.
I had that sitting there for half an hour.
This is a meme.
Okay, no. Okay. No, next week's is going to be wonderful. I'm not going to do a topic because it could be a long discussion. We're going to cover Mulholland Drive. Deep interpretation. The Haryan score will be far harder to get. And because Mulholland Drive is quite an enigmatic film, but nevertheless there is a good way of understanding it. I will set a little homework because David Lynch in the DVD for Mulholland Drive gave us a series of puzzles to help understand the film. And I've never tried to look at the film in that way, so I'm going to give us his guide, and I think we should all make notes on it and see if it actually helps us work out what the heck's going on. So that is Mulholland Drive from the early 2000s. I can't remember the year right now. Whoops. Anyway, Mulholland Drive by David Lynch is your horror homework for next week. So with that said, I will thank my guests. Thanks very much, Shrouded Hand, for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure. I know you don't do many streams, but I hope you had a good time, and I thought you made really good contributions. I love it whenever someone says that they've made notes. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, I did. I sat there making notes. Yeah, very, very awkwardly scrawled notes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, bless you. I'm a complete scribbler too. I get to the end of notes and like, why did you even bother writing that? Literally, no one could. You can't read that.
I've got like a little doodle of the trap with the weights and the spike. I drew that and wrote Nightmare on Elm Street next to it. That's the extent of my notes. Very.
Oh, you're giving the game away now. Oh no. No, but it good observations. I love getting people sort of slightly out of what they usually cover.
Yeah.
Also, I did mention this earlier, but it seems kind of maybe superfluous to mention. But I'm assuming people will know of you. If they don't, Shrouded did a really good video on was it Samantha? What was her name? TCG. The Chucky murders.
Kappa.
Thank you. Suzanne Kappa murders, which included a bit of BBFC history, which we love on this channel.
Mm.
And
people should go and watch that. It's been like least viewed video recently. I don't know why. So yeah, go watch that video. It's good.
Yeah.
It's very good. Yeah, and anything with BBFC history, I like. You did a very good take on that, and picking apart how the sort of Chucky movies were unfairly blamed. It's very good. And thanks also Haryan and TCG. Pleasure as always.
No worries. I also did a video recently about Suzanne Kappa and had a little bit of BBFC history. No, I didn't. Well, I did a Suzanne Kappa video. To be fair, it was actually Shrouded's video that inspired me to do that. And I think, it was because you did a more detailed one before the most recent one, didn't you?
Yeah,
and it was that one
years ago.
Yeah, it was that one that sort of got me thinking, oh, that's something I'd like to cover actually. So yeah, thank you for that, man. I've been a long time subscriber to your channel. I think you do some really good work.
Cheers.
Yeah, there's a heck of a backlog of treasures in there, you know. All right, fantastic. Well, so I'll reiterate, thanks to my guests, much appreciated. Chat, good to see you. Lots of new faces in here. That's lovely. If you've liked what you've heard tonight, we do this every week. We're on Thursdays now. And I also put out occasional more in-depth videos. If you want to see something that's more considered, much more edited, then I've got a best of playlist. So I'd recommend just going for that and work your way through that. If you like that, give me a sub. I'd much appreciate it. And with that, I'm going to round it off here. You have your horror homework and you have my thanks for watching. Especially high if you're on the rewatch. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Grotesque.